been playing. Ahoy, hoy.
What's up, man?
What is up? Hey, you know you're going to want to do it anyways. They're all popping in. You want to say hi to all the homies that are popping in, my day?
I might as well. Bootleg Toyco, first in the house tonight. Acid 9, Suki, what's up, dude? Brilliant Demon, Zymatko, Garden Noir, Toy, Slightly Adrift, my dude, what's going on? Folklore, Stormico, Von Fake Name, those creatures you posted recently are sick. The Porp, Lynn's the Rat Boy from Australia, Nim Studios, Jacob, how the hell are you? I had mentioned your work to several people lately. Sir Collect a lot. What's going on? I owe you a phone call, dude. Dylan Clement. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is episode 130. Pocket Sizzle, Pickman's Vinyl, Bliss Receptor, the big three coming in. What's up, dudes? Episode 134. Eddie ANAYA Reality Breakdown is in the house. What's up, Eddie? I see you in the waiting room. Crumbs, get in here, dude. What's going on, man?
I was gonna say, holy smokes, man! You crushed all that. You're on point tonight,
bro. Let me tell you something. I am anything but on point. We are both here. We both made it. We were just talking about how time is flying by these days, especially after the holidays. I think it is for everybody. We're 3 weeks away from Christmas. Here we go.
I don't even know what Christmas is, man. That's just my thing from now on. That's what I'm going to with all this shit from now on. Somebody mentioned something that I don't even know what you're talking about. Not a clue.
It's just flying by, dude. Yeah, I mean, everything is. The weeks are flying by. Eddie ANAYA this week. We got Super Terrible Toys the following week. I don't know what's going on after that. I do got Scott Cherry. The Barbarian Rage is ready for another visit, so he'll be coming in hopefully in the next couple of weeks, especially with that new vinyl coming out and some other things in the work. It would make sense to have him in here to chat about that. Puzzle Panther, what's up? How you been, dude? We have not chatted over this last week.
Dude. We did not. But at the same time, you know what? I do love seeing like the tag teamingness of it sometimes, where like even today, I miss often putting the post for today up into the stories, and I'll often see you catch it midday. It's still a little tag team on it, man. So it's we got it. Sure, we get there.
I think that and we've been doing this for a while, man, but I think we're like, we know what the schedule is. We know who's responsible for what. We throw it out there. Sometimes it gets up when it's supposed to. Sometimes it doesn't. And you know what? It all works out the same in the end. I think we got some really good responses from the trivia question, not trivia question, but the giveaway question this week, man. There was some vinyl stuff in there that hopefully we'll get into, towards the end of this year and then next year for sure, man. But people were dropping names like crazy. That was really, really cool to see some vinyl stuff, man. I've been looking at vinyl accounts all week, and I mean, shit, dude, where do you even start? You know what I mean? Just when you think that you know a little bit about vinyl, you're like, man, I don't know shit about vinyl, dude. I know it's dope. I like it.
I'm going insane over here. Okay, so I was listening, I promise. But
yes,
I go over to Reality Breakdown's page because I'm like, yeah, obviously I want to have this handy. I see for some reason the little blue follow button at the top. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Obviously Toys Alive is following this dude. So I click the follow button. I hit refresh. Little thing turns blue again. Ask me if I want to follow them. I'm like, yeah. Hit refresh. Pops up again.
You know what? It does it on the PC all the time, man. I don't know why, but on the phone, it doesn't seem to do that. But I don't know. I noticed that a while back when I was tagging, I was going through a show list and I was looking at all the accounts for a show, and you go in there and I'm like, but I'm following these people already. I'm seeing their posts. Why does it say that I'm not all of a sudden? So I don't know.
It's embarrassing. It's
another one of
those
embarrassing. Of fucking of Instagram. Sadat, what's up, dude?
I even messaged Pocket Salsa the one day. I was so embarrassed about it. I was like, "You're about to get a follow request from me. I swear I was following you, man." And he's like, "Dude, it doesn't matter. We're friends regardless." I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, right. Yeah, Bootleg Toyco, you still not collecting vinyl? Yeah. Besides this big ass case next to me full of vinyl, besides that, not touching it.
And you've got a killer freaking Healy piece in the collection, actually, that I'm kind of hoping you pull out later tonight.
Sure.
We've got a guest hanging out. They're chilling on the off stage. You want to pull them in here? We can talk toys all fucking night.
Yeah, let me bring him in real quick. Eddie ANAYA from Reality Breakdown. I met this fine young gentleman at DesignerCon this year. He had a booth up there in Resin Alley. Some really, really cool one-off carded, 6x9 3.75 figures. But I mean, dude, you start going down the list of his figures, and relatively newer to the scene, man. So that'll be cool. That'll be definitely some cool stuff to talk about there.
I gotta love fucking Pocket Salsa's comment there. Vinyl isn't collecting B, or vinyl is collecting B. His collection has become sentient. It's just ordering new stuff on its own.
Pretty
and
much.
So collect a lot, dude. Honestly, I find that's generally what I'll use lives and Toy Surprise for as well. It's an excuse to sit there for that whole duration and actually get some ish done.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I think there's and there's a few shows out there, man, where I hear, most of the comments that you hear are people that have this on in the background, and most of our audience being, not collectors, but artists in general, people who are busy doing stuff and just kind of need that background noise. And if it's going to be background noise, why not make it about whatever you're into, right?
Well, and if y'all weren't watching 90 Day Fiance, what are you doing with your lives?
Oh, I don't know shit about that. Yeah.
Just saying. Fucking pulling in some Reality Break. And I'm probably going to say this later on too.
Yeah.
Their account's at 671, and yet they're very much like the Dano Brown level style of creating to me, and I don't know why their account is sitting there. So get on it, all the homies chilling in the chat. I'm going to fucking share it right there. If you're not following, go follow them.
Yeah, straight up, dude. There's actually a couple different accounts there, so we'll get into that for sure. The Reality Breakdown skateboard side, and then kind of moving into the toys and the all-encompassing site for what it is. So, Pikmin's, yeah, it's not actually. You never know, though. I think Crumbs might have some info for you there if you're into that, but. Yeah, dude. Whenever you're ready. Eddie, are you ready, man? Give me the thumbs up if you're ready, dude. Ready to go. He's ready to rock. There he is.
Oh.
What's up, guys?
What is up, dude?
What up?
How's it going?
It's going great, man. How you been?
Good. Just got home from work. Got off a little early to get here in time, but I get off at 5 and I live in LA. I work in OC, so sometimes the drive's crazy, but it's like no traffic, like 20-30 minutes, but rush hour, it sometimes takes me like an hour and a half. So I got off work a little early just to get here.
Well, and then of course we just held you up, just chilling off stage anyway. It's like a bunch of fucking.
No, it's all good.
We appreciate you,
it's
man.
all good. I got home a little bit and played with my son for a little while, and then now I'm here talking toys with you, fine gentlemen.
Dude,
nice.
Right off the hop, loving the background. Sorry,
you
got so many goodies back there. The eyes are just darting everywhere.
Oh yeah, I've been collecting like my whole life. Some of this stuff is stuff that I had since I was a kid. Some of it's just stuff I find at the flea market, or a lot of I collect VHS tapes too. So I tried counting them the other day, but I stopped at like 200 because I have these and then I have a box somewhere, and I have so many tapes. And I'm not really particular. I just kind of get whatever I like. So I have so many. Like I have I have Son-in-Law right next to My Big Fat Greek Wedding. So it's like
Son-in-Law.
Yeah,
What
Pauly
a great
Shores.
movie, dude. What a great movie, dude. I watched that shit. You know what, dude? They play that one on like CMC, like Country Music Channel.
Yeah, that
They play
country music channel.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But what a great movie, dude. That one and Encino Man came out like back to back. Some little Pauly Shore gems there for you. That's
Yeah,
funny.
there's a little Brandon Fraser Easter egg in when they're in the dorm having the party.
That
and
is
like
true,
Encino
dude.
Man
He
walks
takes
by.
he takes the frog off the hat and tries to light it on fire, right?
Yeah, he tries to cook it or something.
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
But yeah, I'm
Well,
stoked to be here.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for coming in, man. So have you got to the point in VHS tapes yet where they're costing a lot to buy? My son got into this. He's 20 recently, and he goes down and he finds them, and they're like, 50 cents on an expensive day, dude. But I've seen people reselling them. And
Yeah.
you're like, holy shit, dude.
I use eBay for a lot of stuff, but like I don't use it for like collectibles that I want to buy and like videos that I want to buy. Because that's like a dangerous rabbit hole to go down. Because like if I'm making a toy, I'll go on eBay looking for a specific reaction figure like that's loose, or looking for a specific Jurassic Park figure that's loose. But like if it's something I'm collecting, like I know as soon as I buy my first Ninja Turtle on there, like it's over. Like I'm just gonna be spending so much money on stuff. So I try not to spend too much money. So most of the stuff that I buy is either like from a flea market or Goodwill or like thrift store, something like that. So I try not to spend too much. But once in a while, I follow a bunch of VHS accounts, so they'll post like, "We got Return of the Living Dead for $20," and like I'll buy it because like you're not gonna find that at like a thrift store. But yeah, for the most part, I try not to do that. I try to keep it all. I'm like a thrill of the hunt kind of person. I don't really like to buy a lot of stuff online. I usually, I mean, sometimes if I really want it, I'll buy it, but usually I like to go in person and like find it at the store. Like even today, I bought the Krusty Simpsons figure, but like I was looking for it all over it, but like I just noticed I could have bought it on Target, but like I went to 3 or 4 Targets finding it, and I found it today, so I was pretty hyped.
Yeah, there you go. God, dude, VHS tapes, man, and you have a working VCR. I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's my childhood VCR.
Oh my God, dude! That was the hunt on here a long time ago, man. We were looking for a VCR. I think Pocket Salsa finally hooked it up with something. That
I got an extra one. I got like 3 of them.
We could not find a here that would work.
B's just hooked and obsessed on the VHS side of things at the moment.
Yeah.
Even when you're like, I grabbed this Krusty figure today. I was going hunting for that. B's like, yeah. So back to VHSs.
So VHS tapes. Dude, all right. So let's get into this, man. Let me read something here real quick.
Good.
A Bachelor of Fine Arts, Entertainment Art and Animation with a minor in Cinema Television Arts. That is you.
That is me. Yeah, that's what I went to school for.
Tell me about that. University of California State at Fullerton, correct?
Yeah, Cal State University Fullerton, Tusks up.
Okay,
all the Titans out there.
Yeah, the Titans, right? Dude, I was a big Fullerton baseball fan when I was a kid. Anyways.
Yeah, they had some pretty good baseball players. I think they had somebody that was on the Dodgers a couple years ago. I'm not too sure. But
who cares about the Dodgers?
I cared during the playoffs, so.
Yeah, right.
Did you creep
I saw a thing the other day that said they just signed Jesus Christ for like 12 years. So,
yeah. So, I went back to school a couple years ago. It's kind of a long story, but after I graduated high school, I was just working at the movie theater, and then I was working in warehouses and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to go back to school for something. And I was really hooked on this dude that worked at my job when I was working in the skateboarding industry. He was an artist, and he did like graphic design, and he was always drawing and painting and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You could actually get a job in art. Like I had always heard like it's hard to do, and like it's kind of like you're never going to find a job. And it is hard, but I don't know. I just came to a point where I was like, I don't want to like drive a forklift anymore. I don't want to like pack boxes. I want to like go to school and learn how to do this stuff. So I went to school for, I actually wanted to be in engineering, and I started doing that. And I took a couple art classes because you had to take like 1 or 2 art classes for a requirement. And like not to toot my own horn or anything, but everybody like loved my drawings, and everybody was loving the stuff that I was doing. And then even my art professor like pulled me in. He's like, dude, like if you wanted to make a career out of this, like you're one of the few people I think that actually could do it. So I kind of shifted my major around, and then I wanted to focus on um, like animation, and because like my job right now, I'm a 3D artist. I do
Mm,
3D environment art, so it's
okay.
like um, I use video game engines like Unreal Engine, and I do like 3D modeling in Maya. So it's more hard surface modeling. It's not so much like modeling characters and stuff like that. Like I can do that kind of stuff, but what I really like to do is like create worlds and stuff like that. So the place
Mm,
I work at right now, it has nothing to do with animation, but what I do is I do like all the stuff I learned, I use that to like visualize what we do for our clients. So my job does a lot of events, and like we work with the Chargers and like USC and like stuff
mm,
like that. So we do more like corporate stuff. But
yeah.
like before any of the stuff we do gets made, I 3D model it and I do the 3D renderings and then I shoot it off to the clients, and then it's a big back and forth to kind of see what they want.
Yeah. God, dude, I can imagine. God, there's so much to unpack right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
it's pretty crazy.
yeah. Now at this time when you decided to go back to school, were you already let's see, you graduated in like what, 22? Was that
Yeah,
right?
22 is when I graduated. Yeah.
At 22, so you were there for a few years. Now the reality breakdown, the skateboards, your account goes back pretty far. Like, I mean, as far as I can go back, I think it was like 17, something like that. Were you still making boards back then, or was that, I mean, how did that work out as far as, yeah, like making
Yeah,
boards and then deciding to go into something else?
I started reality breakdown as like a outlet for my art because I was just doing like t-shirts graphics and selling them on TeePublic and stuff like that, and I just always been creating stuff. And I mean, like I said, I wanted to get a job in art, and I was like drawing stuff and sending it to companies like, hey, let me make your skateboards, like let me do your art for you guys. But like I was just
Mm,
getting nowhere, and I was just like, you know what, if nobody's gonna hire me, I'm just gonna do it myself. So I started doing runs of boards and like selling them to skate shops and stuff like that. And it was really fun. I had a lot of fun doing it because I've been skateboarding like my whole life, and I worked in the skateboarding industry for a little while, and so like I already had that background, and I knew I wanted to do that. But like as it started growing and I started getting more like product, it was just like I can't do this. Like it's not fun
mm,
anymore. Like I started doing it because I wanted to do skateboard graphics, but I ended up just being like a sales guy and running around to shops and trying to ship stuff, and like
mm.
it wasn't fun. Like I just wanted to do the fun drawing part. So I kind of like backed off of that, and I still have some skateboards like that I just keep on me, and like as relics, I guess. But no, I'm not really doing the skateboards anymore. Um,
Mm.
when I started doing the toys, it was just the name kind of carried over. And it's funny you guys were talking about like my page doesn't have a lot of followers. I just kind of tend to forget to post on there. When I started posting the toys I was making, I was like not embarrassed, but like people didn't know that I was into action figures. Like I have a lot of friends that are like punk rockers and like skateboarders, and like so they didn't know anything about like, oh, this dude is like super into Star Wars toys. Like that's kind of weird. But
Mm.
when I started posting that stuff, like I was posting on both the reality breakdown page and my personal page, and then like a lot of homies and friends were like, dude, like this stuff's rad, like this stuff's cool, like you should share more of it. So then I kind of got more posting on my personal page. So that's why there's a lot
Yeah,
more
right.
posts on my personal page. But yeah,
And
I
that's,
have
you
been
know,
thinking about just. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna
Uh,
say, I think your account kind of reflects that too, man. I mean, it seems like there was like no toy stuff, and then all of a sudden, bam, you have that first. I think I want to say the first one was one of like the Devo character, and we can even talk
yeah,
about it too, man, because the Devo one comes out. Next thing you know, there's a picture of fucking Tony Hawk right there, like just standing with it, and
yeah,
I'm just holy shit, dude! Like you haven't had anything toy related up until that point, and then bam, it's just like out of nowhere. I mean,
yeah.
dude,
That
for your
Tony Hawk
first
thing.
years, those are great.
That that goes back to my skateboarding industry, like days when I was working at this place called Ace Trucks. We would get people coming in all the time, like getting free product. And I met one of the dudes. His name's Tim. He his name's Bill Gun Gary on Instagram, but his name's Tim in real life. He's a filmer, so he actually films Tony Hawk sometimes. He's
Mm,
like a friend of his. And when I started posting the toy stuff, he saw it and he's like, "Dude, this is so sick. I want to get it for Tony." So then he got it and he gave it to Tony, and he was like super stoked on it. Because at the time, I don't think Super 7 was doing the reaction Devo figures. So that was like the only Devo figure, unless I mean, I'm sure people have made Devo figures before, but like it wasn't like a widely available thing. And yeah, he was just hyped on it, and that was one of the first times when I was like, oh, like these skateboarder dudes, these skateboarder homies are like into what I'm doing. So then I started just kind of posting on my personal page.
Yeah. What kind of reaction? I mean, you said that it kind of took everybody by surprise, man, but it really did come out of nowhere on your page as far as, the figures popping up. And then once the figures pop up, it seems like that's pretty much dominated your thread ever since then. And the pieces are just fucking, I mean, they're crazy, dude. I mean, and it's from everything from, I mean, it's the whole package, right? Dude, you even, so you said, so the Brian Flynn piece, I was looking at that post specifically. And what you said was building bootlegs has been super rewarding artistically. I found something that hits all of my marks when it comes to creating something, sculpting, painting, packaging, and graphic design. Combining all those things together, dude, that seems like a hell of a thing to jump into all at one time. I mean, typically we see something where someone might post something and say, hey, I'm messing around with this. Maybe I'm doing a kit bash. What do you think about this? Maybe I'm doing a little bit of sculpt. Yours is just like full force, everything all at one time. Bam, here it is. And it's been nonstop ever since. What made you get into that whole package one-off? I'm going to put a ton of time into this because, dude, there's got to be a lot of time in each one of those pieces for sure.
Oh yeah, they go on for hours and days, sometimes weeks, just because I'm waiting for pieces or waiting for stuff to dry, and then I got to design the packaging. I mean, that just goes back to like my childhood of when I started making stuff. I mean, like going all the way back when I was a kid, I was into drawing, but I had this weird thing where I would make these like drawing like pop-up book things. Like I would take the paper and fold it, and like I don't know, like I would just try to figure out how to make stuff happen. And then as I got older, I've just always been creating stuff. If you go on my Instagram and you scroll back, you'll see some like cosplay stuff from like Comic-Con. I made like some Stormtrooper helmets and stuff. Like here, like I got this right here. Like I made this Tusken Raider, like out of like it's a newspaper. If you look on the inside, it's like paper mache.
Oh,
but like I just like figured out how to make it like out of like pieces from the dollar store and like trying to be crafty, you know? And like so I've always been making stuff like my whole life. I've just been drawing, painting, like everything, like even sculpting. Like some of the first toys I worked on was like when Black Series first came out, I was like super hyped on those. And I was doing a little bit of customs, but I wasn't really sharing them with anybody. It was more like a personal thing. And then I don't know, I've just always been into creating stuff, and I would see people like making toys. And what really hit it off for me was when like 7 or 8 years ago, a friend of mine that I was working with was like, hey, I'm going to be selling shirts at this event. Like, you should come down. I'll get you some tickets. I was like, okay, where's it at? He's like, it's in Pasadena. I was like, oh man, I don't know. It's kind of far. I was like, oh, fuck it. Like, you give me the tickets, like, I'll go. So he got me passes, and I went to Designer Con in Pasadena. And like, my mind was blown. I was like, bro, like, all these people are making cool shit. Like, all the toys. Like, I've always been like hyped on people's toys that they were making.
Yeah.
And like that always stuck with me. Like toys. Like I'm into toys. Like I like seeing people's bootleg toys, and it just kind of built up for a couple of years. And then like 2 years ago when I started doing it, I was just like, we were at Designer Con, and my buddy was like, dude, you should totally do that. You could do that. And I was like, oh man, I've been thinking about doing it. And he's like, you totally could. And so then I went by DKE's booth, and he was selling these like blister pack things.
Oh yeah, those are
and legit. I was like, okay, I'll just buy 4 of those and I'll try to make something. And then yeah, I bought a couple of them, and then next thing you know, I just started making figures, and it's all downhill from there.
Dude, that's a great setup too, man. As far as a blister, and especially for everything that you're doing. I mean, you know, the figure, you can take it out. The backer, you know, that you're making, it just slides right in, dude. I think that's a
yeah. You know what's funny though is like I put these still on it. Like I like to put the bubble over, like it's like a protector, I guess, because like some of these pieces that I sell, they're pretty pricey, you know, and like I want to make sure who it's going to, that it's safe, you know, like the bubble's not going to fall off, or like the card's not going to get bent, you know. So it's just a cool, like, I don't know, it's just a little added thing that I do.
It is, man. And you know what? That's a great idea. I never really thought about that, even though I have that same setup in mind, how it is kind of a protector for something that already has a bubble on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm a collector, so like the way I get stuff is like the way I want somebody else to get my stuff. You know, I want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
I'm so anal sometimes, like I'll print the cards 3 or 4 times if it doesn't come out the way I want it to.
Pickman says the DKE gateway drug, man. That's really what it is, right? I mean, like you go to someplace like you said, Decon, and you see pieces like that, and you're just like, man, dude, there's so many people out there that are doing, that are doing that kind of work. What is it about the one-off that you like, man? I mean, it seems like there's definitely, you can go down the line and talk about artists that are doing one-off, kind of carded pieces. Sir Collect lots of great one. He's in the crowd tonight, but I mean, there's definitely a difference between a loose figure or even a bagged figure, right? Maybe doing like a run of 5 or 10. I'm not saying one of them takes more work than the other, but what do you find appealing about the 3.75 one-off piece?
I just like the exclusivity of it. It's like it's like an art piece basically. It's like I spent all this time. It's like having an original painting. Not to say that like other people's like runs aren't as valuable, because they are. Like I love everybody's stuff, like all the resin stuff, and I don't know. It's just like I like the fact that like the toys that I make are made from like sometimes used action figures. Like I'll buy a toy that's loose, that's beaten a little bit, and it's like I think it's pretty cool that some kid probably played with it, and now it's like something else. It's like I don't know. It's a weird like nostalgic thing for me, is because like I remember when I was playing with toys as a kid, and like to know that the toy is still living on in like a different form is like I don't know. I don't really know where I'm getting at with that, but I just like the feeling that it's like a real toy, like it's like an actual action figure.
It's like that toy soul that we often talk about, man. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's just kind of like a little bit beyond kind of really describing, but that's sick, man. I like that way of thinking of it.
Yeah, and it's just like it kind of forces me to be a little more like, okay, I gotta find this specific piece and like kind of think about stuff, and like I have to make decisions that actually matter, because like that's the only part that I'm gonna get out of that figure. And then I have bins of stuff that like leftovers, and like I don't know, I like sorting through them and trying to figure out and trying to how I'm gonna make this one look like this thing, and like I don't know.
Dude, some of your figures, I had jotted down a few of them. Dude, Bob from La Bamba. Man,
oh yeah, that was a good one.
That was a great one, dude. For whatever reason, that movie, God, I watched that movie so much as a kid. And, he's definitely a dude. I mean,
he's not like the hero, but he definitely has his problems. But like, I don't know, like you get, I see people that I knew like in him, like that movie is really nostalgic for me. And
sure.
I talk about nostalgia a lot. Like, I mean, you see all my tapes and stuff, and I have my childhood toys. Like, I'm a really nostalgic person. So like, when I see a movie that like makes me feel a certain way, like what better way to like commemorate it or like look up to it than to like make an action figure from it, kind of thing. So like usually all the stuff that I make is like movies that I'm into, or like stuff that I've seen. I try not to do stuff that I haven't seen, or like people ask me to make stuff. I'm like, oh, I've never seen that movie, so I don't know. I probably wouldn't do that. But I tend to make stuff that like either like means something to me, or like kind of makes me feel a certain way. And definitely the La Bamba was like something that like when I was a kid, the first song I learned how to play on guitar was my grandpa taught me how to play La Bamba. So like we watched the movie, I learned how to play the song, and like it just always stuck with me. I'm like, that's something that I wanted to do, is like, okay, I got to make a La Bamba, and I got to make a Richie eventually.
Yeah, right. God, dude, some of the other ones, Blank Man, Beverly Hills Ninja, Mr. Mom. And just something that you just said right there, man. I think a lot of people are making stuff that just really appeals to them. And I think what happens in the end is that it ends up appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that was interesting, dude. You said that if it's something that you haven't seen or you're not very familiar with, you just you just won't make it, which I think really speaks to kind of the love, right, that you're putting into some of these pieces, that you know them intimately and that you're familiar with them. And then nostalgia, number one, man. I mean, I think nostalgia, for when I'm looking at your page and I'm kind of scrolling back, that's the first thing that hits is nostalgia, and watching some of those shows, the old school In Living Colors, some of those old movies that are in there, like La Bamba.
Yeah, totally. Like even like it's funny, like the Joe Camel that I made.
Yeah.
And like the Marlboro Man, it's like, how is that nostalgic? But like that's nostalgic for me. When I was a kid, like I remember my grandpa and grandma getting like the catalogs and like the prizes and the Marlboro like hats and stuff like that. Cause like I don't know, it's just weird. Like that's just stuff that I grew up with. And I'm actually like, people always tell me I'm an old soul. Like even when I was younger, like I was into like stuff like the Goonies and stuff. But I'm only 30, so like those movies came out way before I was even born. When I was little, my aunt and uncle, they showed me a lot of stuff. So my aunt, she passed away a couple years ago, but she like would sit down and show me like Pretty in Pink and Breakfast Club, and we saw Revenge of the Nerds, and I remember seeing Weird Science, and like so like when all my friends were growing up watching like Disney Channel original movies, like I was watching like I said, Goonies and like Tough Turf and like stuff like that.
Yeah. Scott Cherry, Barbarian Raid says Camel Cash, dude. I don't know if I don't even know if you're old enough to remember that, dude, but the old Camel cigarettes used to come with Camel Cash, and you could buy weird shit like that, dude. You know what? That is super interesting, dude. So you're only 30. I was looking at, if you go back through kind of your stuff, and again, dude, we'll go back to La Bamba again. Like, dude, you're too young to be watching La Bamba. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I was a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Even Revenge of the Nerds. Like, I remember watching Revenge of the Nerds when I was like 7 or 8, and it's like, that movie aged terribly, but it's like one of my favorite movies. And like, I don't know, like it's just something that like always stuck with me. I thought it was funny, and like they don't make movies like they used to.
That is true, man. There is a lot of stuff. Yeah, I agree. But then kind of, digging them back up, dude, and pulling out just random characters from movies like that, dude. I think that's super important as far as the nostalgia end goes. We can always think about those movies and stuff, but you're right, dude. It is definitely something different when you have a piece in your hand and it happens to be a one-off piece like that. Are you doing commissions still?
Yeah, so I've kind of like strayed a little bit away from that. I love doing them, but it's just like sometimes it puts a little too much pressure on me, and like I kind of want to just make something that I want to make. And it's like, not to knock anybody that I've dealt with or anything, because like most of the people that I've worked with have been great, but sometimes it's like, can you change this, or why does the head look like that, or like why is the arm? I'm like, bro, like I'm kind of giving you a deal on this. Like I just wanted to make it. like why are you being so picky? And then also, like at work, like I mentioned my work that I worked at, like I work with a lot of clients, and sometimes we go back and forth, and like I don't really want to deal with that when I get home and I work on the stuff that I want to work on. Yeah. So like when I do my commissions now, I make sure I tell the clients that like, hey, like this is how it works. Like I kind of let you know what my idea is, and maybe I'll send you a progress pic or two, but like just let me do what I do, and then if you're hyped on it at the end, like good, we'll go through. If not, then cool, I'll just post it on my Etsy. So that's kind of like what we're doing now.
Scott Suki says, like, can you jazz it up a bit? He works in the marketing industry. I'm sure he gets that all the time.
Yeah.
That's so how did decon go for you, man? So let's go back. So you went so I read in a few of your posts, man, you had a lot of inspiration from decon 22. And then you were at decon 23, and I saw a picture of your booth, dude. I don't think you were in Resin Alley, dude. I totally missed you last year.
Oh yeah, so when I went to decon 22, that was the one that was like, okay, like I want to get started and start doing this. So I started doing it. And then one of my friends, I'm sure you've seen like the Madrid skateboards that they would do at decon.
Yeah.
Like, they had like the Madrid, like Stranger Things and the David Bowie and stuff like that. Like, but like for my skateboarding days, I knew the dudes that worked there. And I knew like, I kind of know the owner a little bit, and I know like the sales guys and stuff like that. And he would always like look at my page and look at my stuff. And he was like, dude, you should have a booth at DesignerCon. Like, I think you should totally do it. And when I was in college, one of my professors, he works at a place called Dino Creative. It's like a creative agency. He's like, oh, I'm going to have a booth at DesignerCon. I think it was 2019. And he's like, I'm telling you guys right now, like, every one of you in this room, because we were all artists, it was an art class. He's like, every one of you guys in this room could have a booth at DesignerCon. Like, there's nothing stopping you. And that always kind of stuck with me. So I was like, you know what, I want to make it happen. So I started doing the toys, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to hold on to a bunch of stuff so I have a lot of stock, but I'm going to have a booth at DesignerCon. And then I was applying, and I applied, and I didn't hear back. And then my friend that worked at Madrid, he's like, hey, get this guy a booth. And they're like, okay. So they reached out to me, and they got me a booth. And then I had the booth in Artist Alley. And a lot of people were coming by, and then I had kind of talked to Dove a little bit, but he's like, oh, if you wanted to be over here, just let me know, and I'll get you over here next time. And I was like, oh, I didn't know it was that easy. I didn't know, like, he was, like, curating that area.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't even think he knew that I was going to be there. So it was cool, like, that first time, a bunch of people from there kind of, like, people were buying my stuff, and they were, like, walking over there to, like, the toy section, and they were, like, showing people, like, oh, look what I bought from this guy over there. And then, so that's when I kind of met Scott, I think, and then I met Eddie at Resin Blood, and I met a bunch of people that year. I met Rika, and, like, I was kind of, like, leaving my table and, like, walking around the corner to go hang out with them. And then, so I just kept going for another year. That first year was really good, actually. It was a lot of fun. I met a lot of people. And, like, that was, like, I don't know, I think it was a little better than this year. But, yeah, that first year was really fun. This last year was pretty good. I think I did all right. It kind of paid for most of everything that I paid to get there. So it was pretty good. I sold a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that, there's two different schools of thought, at least from people that I've talked to when it comes to DesignerCon, as far as, what you define as a success. For some people it's breaking even, and just,
that's what I heard a lot.
Yeah. And then for other people, it's just, hey, they kind of go into it knowing that they may not make all their money back, but the exposure level is, you have to put a dollar amount to that somehow. But yeah, you're right, dude. I think it was a little bit, gosh, I don't know. I mean, I was only there for one day, but I do think last year in Anaheim was maybe a little bit bigger. I don't know if the venue was a little bit bigger, but the traffic felt maybe a little bit less at the Vegas one, but it still felt like DesignerCon. You know what I mean? It's still felt like still people looking and buying at least. So how did that go for you? Yeah, go ahead.
For me, I had like a pretty good year. Like I pretty much sold about the same as I sold as last year. But the thing that was weird was that like last year, or in 22 or 23, I'm sorry, I had people at my booth like nonstop. Like I couldn't like go to the restroom because like I was talking to people all day. But like this year, there was like an hour where like nobody was walking down the aisle. Yeah. But like when people would come, like I had a couple come and they bought like two or three figures from me, and I was like, okay, well the people that did come kind of came to spend money, but like a lot of the looky-loos that were like gonna buy like the cheaper stuff, like I didn't really sell a lot of like my cheaper stuff. I sold more of like the big figures, like the ones that took me a little more time. So I think the people that came came to spend money. It wasn't so much of like, hey, let's go check this thing out and walk around for a little while. Because like that's what I got a lot at Anaheim. Like, oh, I'm just gonna check this thing out and like walk around and maybe I'll buy some stickers or something.
Yeah.
But here it seemed like people were like making purchases and buying exclusives and like ready to spend money.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I think you're right, dude. I think the people that are in that area looking like seriously are usually buyers. Especially the way that aisle was set up this year is kind of in a little spot by itself, and so you don't have, it's not like in the middle of an aisle where you're going to get a lot of just random people kind of walking by. What else are you doing as far as marketing your stuff out there besides just DesignerCon? Are you doing any other shows, or I know you have the online store. What do you think is the most successful way for you to get out there and kind of get your product out in the public view?
I just mostly post on Instagram and like share stuff with people, and like I don't really do any shows. I mean, I'm trying to do more art shows. I've been applying for stuff, and like I did a show with Sir Collect a lot like last month, and then I did that Ninja Turtles at Dimension X Toys one, I think. Yes. I did that one all last minute because it was an open show and I didn't realize that, and I was like, oh, I could have had something ready, but so I just put something together. But yeah, I'm trying to do more shows, and I think I applied. They did that Shrek show like 2 weeks ago. Yes. I think they're doing a Nintendo one or a video game one next month, so I applied for that one. Oh, nice. But I'm trying to do more shows. I want to do more shows. It's fun. I like seeing everybody's work. That Shrek show was killer. Like everybody's work was so great.
Wasn't that really funny, dude?
Yeah, dude, I really love Super Terrible Toys, like his like starting lineup with like all the heads, like the whole Shrek team. Like, I was so sick for like an
That
Instagram show to put that much effort into like a little post. Like he put so much effort into it. It came out so sick.
isn't it, dude? Isn't that sick? And what's cool is he used that team set from I think it was like an '89 set that he used, and I have that original set. But you're right, the amount of detail and the amount of work they put into that was nuts. They're actually going to be on the show next week.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I talked to them on Instagram. So like I bug everybody on Instagram. Like I'd be sending people messages and DMing all the time. So I just try to like stay in contact with people and like especially other toy artists. I just love everybody's work, and I always try to tell them and let them know that I love their work.
Yeah, dude, I think it's it's important, especially when there are times when maybe people aren't buying or stuff's a little bit slow. At least you have that support from the community and people that are kind of behind you. And I think for the most part, a lot of people are in the same boat as far as sales go at certain times of the year. That's just kind of the way it is. But going forward, dude, I mean, you have so much. I mean, just taking a look at one of your pieces, there's so much involved there, dude. Even the engineering aspect, like you said, kind of the bubble inside the bubble and it protecting it. Is there any one of those things that you'd like to focus on going forward? Or if for you, is it just the whole piece? You're going to do the sculpting, the painting, the kit bashing, the card, the packaging, all that stuff. Is there any one of those that you'd like to kind of excel at?
I want to get better packaging. I mean, I talked to Scott a little bit at DesignerCon. He kind of told me, he gave me some more tips. And so I'm going to try some new packaging and try some new stuff with the card backs. And yeah, I don't know. I was thinking actually about kind of rebranding myself also. So like I use the reality breakdown page for everything. But like I said, like I don't really use that page anymore. I just kind of use my personal page. And you know what's happened is like I've had a couple toys kind of like go viral almost. Like I made that seal figure and it went off on Instagram, and like I didn't like I was hyped on that. And then a friend of mine like a couple of days later sent me a Facebook post and like, dude, it was shared like 500,000 times on Facebook. And I was like, what? like who shared it? And I found it. It was on some like random Batman group, and then somebody else shared it, and it was like getting all this traction on Facebook. And like nobody knew who made it. Like they could kind of find Reality Breakdown, but it doesn't have my name anywhere. So like people were like asking like, where is this? Who made this? So I think going forward, I'm gonna start just putting my name and kind of dropping the Reality Breakdown thing. When I started that too, I was like kind of nervous. Like, and like I said, I was like hesitant, and I didn't know if people were gonna like it or like I don't know. I think I was hiding behind the name kind of. Sure. It's like, oh, it's like not me, it's something else. But then like I saw these people that were like into it, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should just like go forward and like just market myself.
Yeah. Now, when you do that, are you going to put like your IG handle, or how would you go about advertising your
I'll probably just put my IG handle like in the bottom corner, and I already made like a new logo. Like if you see on my personal page on the Voltron, the Catron one that I did. Oh, I did that show too recently. I did that Voltron show for Toy du Jour, but it wasn't at Toy du Jour. My piece is at Meepleton's. But if you look at that page, it says Eddie ANAYA Toys in the top right. So I think that's the logo I'm going to kind of go forward with.
Gotcha.
Just so like people know it's mine.
Had 500,000 views, or 500,000 shares. Holy smokes.
Yeah, on Facebook it went off. Like it went off a little bit on Instagram. Like it got like a couple thousand or like 100,000 or something like that. But yeah, on Facebook is like, who's sharing this on Facebook? I didn't even know it was on Facebook. Like somebody screenshotted it and just shared it. And it was in like some Batman group.
When that happened, did you notice a huge increase in followers or traffic on your IG page at all?
Oh yeah, for sure. That one got me like 200 followers or something like that.
Oh wow.
I've been lucky to like have a couple pieces kind of go off. I did a piece for Reggie Watts a couple months ago, and I just made it. And like I like to make figures and kind of give it to the person that I made it for. So like you see the Bobby Lee one, like that one, a friend like asked me to make them for her as a gift, and she was like, she commissioned me to make them, and then I was like, okay, well, like this is how much it's gonna cost, and she's like, oh well, I'll just do the one because I can't afford it. And I was like, you know what, just pay for the one and I'll do both of them, because you can't just give Bobby Lee a figure, not Santino. Like you gotta give them both one. So I just did both of them, and yeah, when they shared that one, I still get hit up to this day about that one. People always
Oh,
asking
no
me to
way.
make it, but
Those
like,
dudes are so funny, man.
yeah, they're so good. We listen to them all the time at work. We have a really like free atmosphere at my job, so like we have
Yeah.
movies on like all day. Like today we watched Blank Man. Like
Nice.
we have this TV that we're supposed to be using to track our jobs, and like somebody was supposed to be updating it with a spreadsheet of our jobs, but like nobody ever updated it. So like it was just like they installed this TV, it's there, like let's just start watching movies, and then we put movies on, and then the CEO walked by and he like looked at it and he's like, oh cool, and then he just kept going. So we're like, okay, like I guess we're in the clear. So we just put movies on. It's not like we're sitting there watching it. It's like background noise, but
Yeah.
sometimes we have music on, sometimes we have podcasts, sometimes we have like whatever. So
It's good, man. I mean, that makes for good content. You kind of got that content machine in your mind kind of running all day when you have worldly stuff on like that, where it's not just dead quiet all the time. That's cool. That's a good working environment. I always think that's a better way to go.
yeah, and we're the art department, so like we're the cool ones at the company. So
You're expected to have all that shit on.
yeah, we're like everybody always says like, oh, this area is so cool. Like we're just hanging out. Like I mean,
Yeah.
we're doing work. Like today was a busy day, but like yeah, it is what it is.
Dude, you've been able to get your work in front of some major names. Dude, we talked about Tony Hawk. You got the Bad Friends podcast there. How does that come about, man? It seems like, after reading those stories, it seems like it was kind of like a friend who was going to meet them or may know somebody. Do you keep your eyes out for stuff like that when you hear that someone's going to meet somebody or somebody might be coming around locally? If it's somebody that
yeah.
are you interested in making pieces for that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of times it's just like the stars aligning, you know? Like I did I have two stories. So like I did one show at like a little toy show, a local one in Santa Fe Springs. I don't know if where are you at? Where are you from?
I'm in Northern California. I'm considered East Bay, so I'm about probably 40 miles south of Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Norwalk, so it's like LA, like between LA and Disneyland, basically.
Oh, gotcha.
But,
Okay, yeah.
One of the local toy stores right here was having like a pop-up toy mart kind of thing. And he was gonna have some celebrities there, so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I got a table and I set up. And when I set up my table, it was my table, and then the dude right next to me was Brian Tochi. He's the voice of I think Leonardo from Ninja Turtles, from the old Ninja Turtle movie. But he was also in Revenge of the Nerds. He was the Asian dude in Revenge of the Nerds. So I was like, bro, like I'm standing right next to you, like I was hyped on it. And then like that night, I went home and made a little figure for him. Like it wasn't a figure, it was like a joke from the movie. And I came and like I gave it to him, and he signed it for me. And so like that was just like I never would in a million years would have thought like I would have met that guy, and he just happened to be right next to me. And another one is my wife works at a dental office in Beverly Hills, so she sees famous people like all the time. But like it's funny because like she knows famous people, like she knows names and she knows movies, but sometimes she'll be like, oh, I was at work today and I seen this girl, like I don't know, she was in this movie. Like what movie is it? Like I don't know. I think she was in Resident Evil. I'm like, what? Like, she's like, yeah, the main chick from Resident Evil. I'm like, what? You saw Mila Jovovich? Like, that's crazy. Like, she's like, oh yeah, she comes in all the time. I'm like, what? That's so random. So she meets like famous people like all the time. And then I try not to use that card though, because I'm like, it's like they're her job. Like, I'm not gonna like tell her, hey, can you have this person sign this thing for me? But I'm a really big Oingo Boingo fan. Like, I love Danny Elfman stuff. I love Oingo Boingo. Like, they're like one of my favorite bands. And she's like, oh, Danny Elfman's my patient. So I made only a lad figure, and I'm like, can you have him sign it when he comes in? She's like, yeah. So he came in, he signed it, and he was like all hyped on it.
That's awesome, man. Was that the first figure
like,
that you made? That's the first. I think that's the oldest one I could find on your page.
That's one of the first ones.
Yeah.
That was like the third or fourth one. So I think the first one I made was Hanson from Scary Movie. Like that was the very first one. Yeah. And then I made the Only a Lad one. I made a Devo one. And then I can't really remember what else I made from there. But there was like 4 or 5. Oh, I made the American Psycho, the Hugh Lewis in the News.
Yeah, they have to be square.
The Hip to Be Square one, yeah, where he's wearing the coat with the axe. So that was like the third or fourth one that I made.
Yeah, nice.
And I was trying to number them and like keep track of them, but like I just kept going and like I lost track. So now, yeah, those are the first 4. So oh yeah, the Mario one. I had a lot of fun making that one.
Mm.
I think that was around the time the Mario movie was gonna come out, and like I was like hyped on Mario, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make the like I was telling my nephew like, oh, have you seen the first Mario movie? He's like, what Mario movie? I'm like, I had to tell him like, dude, there was a whole live action Mario movie. He's like, I never even heard of that. And like
Oh,
that was
dude,
such
that's
a
old school. That's got to
nostalgic movie
be.
for me.
That's like what? That's got to be late '80s, probably.
Yeah, like early '90s, late '80s probably.
Yeah.
But that was one of the first ones that I and like I said, like these are all stuff that like means something to me. And like this one particular though, that was one that I was like, I saw the guy and I saw the other piece and I was like, oh, I can make this. Like it'll come together.
Dude, and so that's a great segue into what we were just getting what I had next, dude. Like, what do you think typically is the starting point for you as far as a figure? Is it the character itself, and you say, okay, I'm going to build around that, or sometimes is it just like what you just said, where you see two pieces and you're just like, oh man, that would fit perfectly here, and I could make this. I'm sure it's probably a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both. I mean, it's just everything. Like I have a list on my phone of like stuff I want to make. Like there's characters that I have like, okay, if I find the pieces, I'm gonna make this, you know?
Yeah.
Because I just like to make stuff. Like it's not for a commission or anything. I just want to make it. And then sometimes I'll be at like a toy store or something. Like we were at the thrift store and I saw a corn and I was like, oh, like I could just make this into like the Nacho Libre thing. I've been wanting to do like a Nacho Libre corn. So that's how that corn one came about. And a lot of times my wife gives me good ideas too. She's really into movies and like she'll know like, oh, you should make this guy from this movie, and like, oh, that's a good idea. Like she was really into like Wes Anderson, and so she liked the Pele de Santos from Life Aquatic, the dude who's playing the David Bowie songs, and she's like, you should make that guy, and I was like, okay. And like also I wanted to make a Bill Murray one, but like I had seen Dano did one before, and I seen a couple other people did it before, and I'm like there's definitely stuff that I've made that other people have made, but like I'm trying to be a little unique, so I try to make stuff that hasn't been done. I mean, I'm sure like there's some stuff that I just want to make, so I'll probably just make it. But yeah, I just try not to like step on anybody's toes or anything.
Yeah, dude, and it's so hard, right, man? I mean, I think some of the figures that you've done, man, I've definitely never seen anybody else do them before, but and I think that's what's kind of weird, man. I mean, I'm not an artist, so I'm not making stuff, and I don't really know how that works as far as who's got dibs on what. But I know that when they're all one-off individual pieces, they're all a little bit different in some way, which I think is cool.
Yeah, I mean, the way I kind of look at it is like, yeah, somebody else made something, and like I would never like copy somebody's recipe and like remake it and sell it. But like at the same time, like nobody has dibs on any of this stuff. Like we're all bootlegging there. Everything's fake. Like everything's bootlegged. Everything's like I could tell you like most of the stuff I made, probably somebody has made it. Like when I made the Blank Man one, I was really hyped on it, and then I was like, oh, somebody else had made a Blank Man, but they used a different like recipe, and that happens sometimes too. Like when I'm researching as I'm making the figure, like or making the card back, like that's when it really happens, when I'm making the card back. Because like I'll be looking up reference images, and then I'll find like, oh man, I'll find an Etsy of like somebody else selling the same thing.
Does that ever stop you like right in your tracks and say, okay, this is off the board?
Not really, because like sometimes mines tend to be a little different, or like they're not too on the nose. Like the one that happened recently was the PD one, the dead PD from Dumb and Dumber. Like I even wrote about it in my post. I'm like I thought I was being all funny and clever, and then when I was looking up, I just literally Googled like PD Dumb and Dumber, and then I saw like 3 listings, and I was like, fuck. And then I was like, you know what? Everybody else has done this. It's almost like a bootleg Boba Fett. Like everybody's done a version of Boba Fett. So like, is Boba Fett off limits now? Like I don't think so. Like there's been like 4 or 5. There's been like 4 or 5 PDs. So like I don't really think it's off limits.
Yeah, no, that's a great one, dude, with the fucking tape around the neck. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was like I had wanted to make that for a while, and then I was just like, I'm just gonna make it. And then I had bought the birds to make it, and then I had seen it, and I'm like, fuck, I'll just do it anyways. Like, who cares? And like, luckily, nobody even cared, so it's all good.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. So immediately, dude, what is coming up for you around the corner, man? Are you getting into anything new, or is it just keep on plugging away at what you're doing, man? I mean, just from the account being up for just over a year now, God, dude, it seems like you're moving right along pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything like specific in mind. Like I said, I think I have that Nintendo show coming up, or that video game show coming up.
Yeah.
I am going to table again at this pop-up show in January, but it's just a little local show, so it's not too big of a deal. But yeah, I don't really have anything like pressing or anything big that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Just making toys. I mean, I'm kind of like taking a little break right now. I have a couple commissions that I need to finish. I'm trying to finish those before Christmas. And then I'll probably take a little break going into January. I'll probably just do some hunting, looking for more figures. But yeah, I do have a backlog of stuff that I just want to make just to make it. So I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
going to be taking on commissions then. DesignerCon was really good. Like I got a lot of requests after DesignerCon. Like you said, it was good for networking. Like I met a lot of people that had that, and then a lot of people there asked me to make stuff for them, either at the show or once we got home. So it's been pretty cool. So I know if I do like want to do some more commissions, like that's there. Like I'll have some ready.
Yeah,
But,
definitely. If you could say, man, like if you look back at this in, let's say mid next year or even later on down the line, is there a point that you want to get to where you're saying, okay, I've gone as pretty much as far as I want to go with figure making, and then maybe get into something else? Or is it just unlimited? You want to do this until you can't do it anymore? Or is there a certain peak that you'd like to get to? I mean, I think if you took like the one-off carded 6x9 elite, right? I think Dano Brown is up there. Sir Collect a Lot is up there. Those guys are
Death by Toys.
Death by Toys. Distraction Figures. I mean, those guys all have just amazing.
Yeah, I really love Kingdom of Spiders too. He's really sick.
Oh,
his work is so good.
Excellent,
he's
dude.
like top, like, oh man, his sculpts, and like I don't know if everybody's following him, but if they're not following him, like they gotta follow Kingdom of Spiders. He's
out of control.
Amazing. I think he's one of the best ones. Like everyone's great, but he's like my favorite one. His sculpts and like the way he transforms, like I like seeing. Sometimes like I talk to him sometimes on Instagram, and sometimes he'll send me a photo of like an in progress. I'm like, how did you turn a Yoda like into like some crazy troll? Like it's so crazy. Like the base figures that he uses.
Yes, absolutely, dude. The transformations, like you said, are freaking incredible. And that's another guy, man, where it's like the whole thing, right? It's the sculpt, it's the paint, it's the packaging, the idea in general. It's just like, God, dude, it's so damn good from top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started getting into this, like I said, I like to reach out to people, and Dano was definitely one of the first guys that I kind of saw making stuff. I didn't see him at DesignerCon, but I saw him because a friend of mine is like good friends with him. So like he posted something like a long time ago too, like 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, like when he was just starting. Like, look at my friend made these crazy Nintendo toys or something. And then I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So then I started following him, but I never talked to him. I was just like, oh, I really like this guy's work. And then when I got started, I just sent him a message and I said, hey, dude, like, I've been following you for a while. You know my friend. Like, we have a lot of mutual friends. I just want to say I love your work. And he was, like, really cool. And, like, we talk sometimes here and there now on Instagram. And he's just been really nice. That's the thing with, like, the toy thing, too, is that, like when I was growing up, when I was younger, like, I was, like, a punk rocker. And I was, like, meeting all these people. And, like, it was, like, kind of like a cool kids club, though. Like, either you're in the group or you're not. And then like even with skateboarding, it's like you're either part of the cool kids club or you're not. But like with toys, it's like as soon as I started making them, like everybody's like, all right, dude, you're one of us, like come on in. So it's been really cool. Like everybody's been like really nice. I haven't really had any like drama with anybody. Like there's been times even somebody reached out to me and said like, hey dude, like you made this figure and I didn't see and I just made it. Like I'm sorry, I'm not trying to step on your toes. And I'm like, dude, I don't even care. Like yours is better than mine. Like, like it's sick. Like I don't care. like I just like seeing everybody's work. So.
Yeah, and I think you're right, dude. You hit it right on the head, man. Where there's no prerequisites to be here. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to have some crazy profile. I've seen people that have just maybe made one or two things, period, and they're still kind of accepted as, you know, hey, it's part of the scene, man. It is what it is. You know, they might just be a collector or a fan that ended up making something, but it always comes out cool. And you're right, dude. It's just it's a very welcoming place, and I think that really is good for a lot of people that are, especially since so much of the stuff is experimentation. You know what I mean? I think once you get into it and you start doing it for a while, you kind of consider yourself a little bit seasoned and more of a veteran of it. But even for people that are just starting out, maybe going from a collector to an artist, or just as an artist, you know, someone like yourself who a couple years ago was like, yeah, I'm going to try this. And next thing you know, it takes off, man. It seems like there's always people that are, you know, looking for something new. You know, that's something that we feature on the show here a lot is new artists and stuff, because next thing you know, they got a couple hundred followers, and then it's into the thousands, and they're making, you know, they've been here 3, 4, 5 years now, doing the same thing.
It's when I got started, I remember I was asking people like, what glue do you use? What paint do you use? And like, now I've been doing this for like 2 years, and I just started getting messages like, hey, what glue are you using? Like, where do you get your bubbles? Like, where do you? And like now I'm answering those questions for people, and it's like, dude, I just got started too. Like, I'm still a kid too.
So this is gonna sound kind of maybe kind of elementary, dude, but when newer people are reaching out like that, dude, how does that make you feel as an artist? Does it make you feel like, oh man, this is cool? Because I was you one time. I was you a couple years ago, just looking for questions. Or answers to some certain questions. And then honestly, you know, I'm sure you asked those questions and people reached out. So do you feel a little bit of an obligation to, you know, answer those questions and just say, hey man, I'm an open book, dude. This is what I use.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I've heard a little bit of some people like gatekeeping stuff, but like I luckily haven't really experienced that too much. So like when people ask me, I'm like, dude, like this is I'll tell you exactly what I use to make this figure. Like, I'll show you exactly the same sticker paper that I'm using for my card backs. Like, I'll even tell you the printer settings that I'm using, because like, I don't know, it's just it's been such a opening and welcoming community that like you said, I'm like almost obligated to, but like I don't even feel obligated. I just want to. Yeah. Like people were so nice to me, like I just want to. Like I don't know, that's just I guess the kind of person that I am.
Yeah, no, dude, and I think that's what it takes definitely to kind of push this thing along and to make people feel welcome, or that, you know, it's not, I mean, everybody has their own recipe for sure, man. I'm a firm believer that you can give somebody your exact same recipe and it's still going to taste different at the end. You know what I mean? It's kind of the artist's interpretation of whatever it is, whatever secret that they know. And I think as far as gatekeeping goes, I think there's so many smart people out there doing so many cool things. I almost think gatekeeping is almost a thing of the past, man. You know what I mean? I think for like the processes, I think you can pretty much ask anybody or Google anything or YouTube something and find just about any process. You know, the artist's little flair on it is going to be different. Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's something like super, super specific. Like I kind of get it. Like there's a dude named Epoch. I don't know if you know Epoch.
Oh,
dude,
100%.
You know his little reflector like sticker things.
Amazing.
Like I was like, oh man, that's so sick. Like, how did you do that? And he's like, oh man, I can't tell you. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's like his thing. Like, I'm not gonna like, not that I would like steal that, but like, yeah, I get that. But like, if you want to ask me, like, oh, how did you make that 3 3/4 figure? Like, dude, there's like 100 people making 3 3/4 figures. Like, like, I'm not the only one doing this.
Like, for sure, man. And that's something that I do agree with. I do agree with kind of keeping your nuances to yourself. I think eventually people will find out if they want to know hard enough, dude. We've seen so many artists come through with stuff that we're just so amazed at, you know, initially. And then a couple years down the line, you're like, okay, somebody else figured it out now too. But again, it's the nuances that they put on that style or that medium that kind of makes it their own. But Epoch, dude, great one, dude. The reflective stickers, man. I remember when I first bought from him a few years ago. Dude, check this out. I was getting carded figures. I found him on Etsy. And I found a carded figure 3.75, just, you know, top to bottom. Absolutely amazing, dude. That shit was like $50 shipped. You know what I mean? Man. And dude, and the box had like the stickers on it and everything. The dude was just over the top on everything. And it's really cool to see. I know he was right across from you. at Decon, dude, or pretty close to it. But him and Killer Napkin's table is just, I mean, it's amazing every year.
Yeah, the Killer Napkin stuff is pretty cool too. He's a really nice dude. I talked to him for like 20 minutes too at DesignerCon, and like their stuff's really cool. Like I'm not into like vinyl or like those like resin toys. Like I am a little bit. Like I appreciate them artistically and I like love them, but like I just can't go down that rabbit hole of like. So like I actually have a little. I don't know if you can see it. Like oh yeah, you can't see it. Here, let me see. Like on this right here, I have little pieces from people. So like you know how sometimes people make like the little like $25, like I'll get those because like I love them. Yeah. But like I can't really jump into the like $150, $200 like resin figures and vinyl figures. But I love seeing all that stuff. I've like that's one of the reasons why I went to DesignerCon is like to see that stuff.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, in his process, I don't know if he talked to you about the virtual reality sculpting that he does on some of those figures, dude. But it's just on it. It's a whole other world, man. But you're right. It's the scale and the weight, and it's just, and that's what's kind of cool about it, right? Like, there's so many different levels of this that kind of all fall under the same umbrella as independent toy art. You have that. You have what you're doing. You have loose figures. You have vinyl figures, and it's just kind of. We're just kind of all here in the same place.
Yeah, I'm like running out of room to put new stuff anyways. So like I can't even start any new lines. Like I have so much like random stuff. I've been like I said, I've been a collector like my whole life. So
yeah, dude. So collecting, what is it that you collect exactly, or how long have you been collecting?
I mean, when I was a kid, like we didn't have a lot growing up. Like so like I think the stuff that I had, I just kind of held on to it. Yeah. So like I have like my very first like Luke Skywalker in disguise. Oh, wow. Like remember the Power of the Force, like the 90 something, like 94, 95. Like that was one of the first figures that I had. And like I remember for Christmas, like one of the first like the big Christmases, I got this guy. And so like, I was hyped. So like I had this one, and then I had like a couple of little Star Wars figures because I was like really into Star Wars when I was little. And like I just kept them. Like I always like made sure I had them like in a box, like ready to go. And like from there, just like I just kept grabbing stuff that I wanted, and, like little things here and there. And like as I got older, I just kind of hung on to it. But I wasn't like super into collecting until I want to say like 2014, 2015. Like that's when I really started getting heavy into it, when I kind of got a good job and I had a little bit of extra money.
Yeah, right.
And like around that time, that's when like the Black Series was coming out. So like those first Star Wars Black Series like kind of like lit a fire, and like in my Detolfs, I don't know if you can see it. Let me see. Like the one behind me right here. Like it's just full of like there's like some Ninja Turtles up here, and then this is all Black Series figures. And then in the one like on this side, this is all like Black Series figures. Those ones are what really got me hyped on collecting. But like lately, the like it's like been Star Wars overload. It's like almost too much now. So like I can't keep up with it, and it's like now I just get the ones that I really really want. I don't really. For a while I was like I need all of them. I'm gonna get every single one, but now I can't do that. There's just way too many. So now I'm like really selective about what I get with Black Series. Yeah. But I started going to flea markets a couple years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, and like now I'm finding like toys that I had when I was a kid, and I'm like, oh, I'm hyped on this. How much is this? Oh, it's $2. Like, so that's like what I've been collecting lately is like the little loose stuff. Like I said earlier, I can't really do eBay because like I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But like when I find the loose stuff at like thrift stores or flea markets, like that's the stuff that I'm really hyped on right now.
Pikmin's vinyl, bro, you took the words right out of my mouth. He says, Jesus, this is making me feel old. I agree, dude. You said some of your first toys, and you said 94, and I'm doing the
Power of the Force. Yeah. The moment he said Power of the Force, I was like, yeah, sorry, B. You were nodding along, and then it was like, Power of the Force, what the fuck?
Like the Vader shaped helmet ones, like the card back had like the shape. Yeah, that was like I remember going to the stores and like seeing those as a kid, and I was like hyped on those.
Yeah, dude, I remember when those came out, and actually my buddy Hurt Toys, dude, had a ton of those, and I remember he bought so many of those and saved them and collected them, and they ended up not being worth anything.
Yeah, you could get them for like a couple bucks here and there.
For sure, dude. For sure. I think Plastic Vomit Custom even hands those out for free at some of their shows. They have boxes of them, dude. And they just hand them out to kids as they're coming by. But that is funny, dude. Again, dude, just kind of like immediately, dude. So you have not a whole lot coming up. Sounds like you're might be taking a break here towards the end of the year. Coming into the new year, you got that One Up show, which I think is in probably mid-January, something like that.
Yeah, I still got to figure out what I'm going to make for that. I was like, I bought this figure a long time ago, and I was like, I want to make it into a Mega Man. And then I recently saw this Dan O'Brown like documentary thing from the Magnificent World of Toys. And then he talks about like, Death by Toys made this Mega Man. And like he showed it, and it's the same Mega like figure that I bought. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do that now.
You know what, man? I've heard that story multiple times from people that are right in the middle. Either they have an idea or they're right in the middle of making something, and then something pops up. That's why I asked you earlier about it, if it'll ever stop them in your tracks, because I know people that it has stopped them in their tracks. They're just like, fuck it, I'm not going to do it now. You know? I
think that one, because it's so specific. Like, I had the figure, and I was like, it's the exact same figure. Like, the only thing it needs is the hand cannon, and I was like, I could just use like a marker or something. And like when I saw it, I was like, dude, that's probably exactly what he used, like a marker cap in like the same figure. So I'm like, I'm not gonna do that anymore.
Yeah,
but I'll think of something else.
So when you were growing up, dude, I know that the nostalgia, like, you're right, dude. When you come to like your selection of figures and stuff, I definitely think you're an old soul, dude. I mean, there's figures and movies that you're referencing in there that predate you by, almost a decade. Sometimes, but when you were growing up, man, what was it? Was there cartoons or shows that you were specifically into?
Oh man, I was really into Ninja Turtles. And I was really into Star Wars and Ninja Turtles. And then like Back to the Future, I was really into. You know what's funny is like I was really into He-Man, like the toys, because my uncle had given me the toys.
Yeah.
But like, if you like ask me about any of the characters, the only ones I know are Skeletor and He-Man. Like I don't know anybody. I never watched the show. I never watched the movie. Like, but I had like 10 or 11 of the figures because my uncle had them and he gave them to me.
Nice.
Like I know there's like the guy whose head goes up and down. I know there's the skunk guy. There's like He-Man. Like I know those figures, but like I don't know any of their names. Like, and I think it's kind of funny. Like I love those figures, and like even now I like seeing the new He-Man stuff, and I keep seeing it at Target, and like maybe I might jump into it, but like nah, like
it's one of those things, dude. It's just like anything else, dude. There's so much of it, you know what I mean? And then for me, I'm kind of a completionist in some ways, where if I see something like that and I start collecting it, then I got to try to get it all, and it just ends up going on for fucking years. But what about that scale, dude? That 5.5 scale, does that ever interest you at all, or are you sticking with the 3.75?
The first couple of figures that I did actually were like the 6-inch, like the Black Series figures. So like the very first like figure that I customized. You know what's funny? When I was a kid, I went to my friend's house and he had like a shitload of toys. And I remember like I would go to his house and we would like break them apart with a hammer and then like hot glue them back together and make these weird creations. And so like those are like the first things I remember like kit bashing. But then when I got into Black Series, I was like, like they're taking a long time to make these figures that I want. So I'm going to like start making the ones that I want. So there's a couple of customs that I did. They weren't like anything super great, but like, yeah, like the 6-inch stuff like kind of interests me. But I don't know, something about the 3 3/4 scale, like it's just so nostalgic, and like people see it and like they get it instantly. Like, oh, it's almost like a Star Wars figure. And then the pieces I think are more readily available in that scale. Like the 3 3/4 scale.
Yeah.
And like I kind of know now from 2 years like what I need to be searching for on eBay to like find the pieces that I need. Like if I started going to other scales, it's like it's a whole nother rabbit hole to jump down.
Yeah, dude, I could see that as an artist looking for pieces, man. You're right. I think once you kind of build up your 3.75 supply, I guess you would say, switching over to another scale and trying to do that all over again, dude. Oh my God, there'd just be so much room.
Yeah, I don't have room for that.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just like the pieces that I find now. like now I know like more. I've been finding out about lines that I didn't even know existed, and like stuff that like from the 70s, like, oh, like there's a whole another line of like there's like the Star Wars figures, but I didn't realize how many figures were made after the Star Wars figures in that same scale, like
Yeah.
between like the 70s and 80s. So like when I'm searching for stuff now, I'm looking for like I'll look up like 18 figures or like Love Boat figures or like whatever like scale, like whatever figures I can find, because like sometimes the heads are really good.
Yeah, definitely. I saw some of your stuff that you're using. One of them that I was looking at was that Oliver Peck, and you used that. I believe it was was it a Zorro figure or?
Oh, it was a it wasn't a Zorro figure. It was the dude who it's like Zorro, the dude who wears a mask, rides on the masked Ranger. Is that what it's called? The mask.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Lone Ranger. It was the Lone Ranger figure.
Lone Ranger. There you go. There you go.
And then I used the body was a Lemmy from Motorhead, because he kind of had that like cowboy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I actually bought the Lone Ranger and Tonto. So I have a Tonto, but I'm trying to figure out what to use that for.
Oh, nice. Dude, you know which one I saw that, and I forgot to mention this earlier, dude, when you were talking about Nacho Libre, dude, but that Ramses figure that you did is super sick, dude.
Oh, yeah, that one was just more of like a repaint. So that one was like a little bit easier to make. Because like Super 7 put out the I think it's the Blue Beetle, I think his name is, the like Lucha Libre one.
Right,
and like I just saw it, and it's like dude with the mask in a suit, and I was like, oh, that's Ramses right there. Like that's easy.
Dude, his moves are number one.
Yeah, Ramses is not dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy was like, you should make a Nacho Libre figure, and I wanted to do like Nacho and Esqueleto, but I've seen a bunch of people had made those, but I haven't really seen anybody make Ramses, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna do something that somebody hasn't made yet.
It's a perfect one, dude. I think, you know, with the backer that you did on it, and then the paint app, of course. I mean, it takes that figure and it just completely transforms it into something else.
Yeah, I've been getting into trying to like display them on like different backgrounds now too. So like this one I put on like my old little Mexican blanket that we have in the living room.
Nice.
And like I think the Honey I Shrunk the Kids one I put on the grass. So I'm trying to get a little bit better at my photos too.
Yeah. Do you notice any difference in traffic when you do stuff like that? Just like little things, as far as like backgrounds or anything like that?
I've gotten asked about like traffic and like how to like increase, and I have no idea, dude. Honestly,
Who knows,
like
right?
when I made that seal figure, I thought it was funny, and I just like it took me like an hour to make that. Like I thought of the idea, and then like it took me a little while to design the card, but like to put it all together, it took me like one night. And like I thought it was funny, and I just posted it. And I don't even think I spent a lot of time on the caption. Like I just took a picture and I posted it, and it goes off. Like millions of people saw it. Like a bunch of people shared it. Like it's crazy. But like something that I spend a lot of time on, like that Beetlejuice one, like it got a lot of likes, but like it didn't really like go off the way I thought it was on my. I think it's on my personal page, but like
yeah,
it didn't really go off the way I thought it was gonna go off. Like a lot of people liked it. But like I don't know, it's weird, dude. Like the stuff that hits for people is so random.
Dude, it really is, right? And even when you put something up there that you think is gonna be a banger, and maybe it is, dude, sometimes it feels like it gets lost in whatever sea of whatever it is on Instagram, and just, you know, you can, if you have a professional account, I know yours does, and you can kind of look at the traffic and see. You know, how far some of those posts reach, dude. And it's just so random on who knows what it is, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's one of the most frustrating things about it, is that nobody really knows what the recipe is. And every time you hear something, then that method goes away, or it's something else now. I don't know.
Yeah, I looked into it a little bit to try to see, like, how can I make my post go viral? And, like, I don't even care about that anymore. Like,
yeah,
like, if something goes off, like, cool. If not, like, I don't care. Like, I started doing this stuff because it's something that I wanted to do, and like if people like it, cool. Like if not, then like I don't care. Like I like it. Like sometimes I'll make stuff, and like I made this Page Master figure a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like I made it like because it was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like this one.
Oh,
and
that's
like
a great one. Yeah.
I love it, and like I made it like a year and a half ago, and nobody's bought it. But like I'm kind of hyped nobody bought it because like now it's like on my wall.
Yeah, definitely. Do you ever do that, man? Do you ever make stuff just for yourself and not sell it at all?
Oh yeah, I have a couple. Like I did this one, this like Pee Wee Herman. So like, well, this is one I took. So it's in the bubble, right? But then like, maybe I could
I
take
read
it
your
out.
story about that one, man. How you didn't really, how the Pee Wee's Playhouse didn't really appeal to you, so you went with Pee Wee's Big Adventure, which I 100% agree with you, dude. I mean, I think the movie for me stuck out more than the show.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the show a little bit, but it wasn't like something that I watched like all the time. It wasn't something that like like I don't know. It just didn't really resonate with me. Like I remember watching it. It was funny, and Cowboy Curtis is cool, and like the little segments are cool, but like I can't remember a specific moment from it. But like Pee Wee's Big Adventure, like I watched that shit like on repeat when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that was one too that I sat down and watched it with my aunt. So like that was like nostalgia for me. And then like, oh, this is the one I was telling you. Like, here, I got two more. When I met Brian Tochi, I don't know if you know Revenge of the Nerds all that well, but like, there's this scene where they like break into this girl's dorm room, and then Brian Tochi, his character Takashi, says like, "Oh, hair pie." So I made this like hair pie, and I literally came home that night and made it, and then he signed it for me.
That is
And I took a
awesome,
picture with
dude.
him. And he was really nice. He's like such a sweetheart. And then this one, I like found this Napoleon Dynamite. Like this is the wrestler that he drags like in the beginning of the
Right.
movie. Like I was looking for it for a long time like on eBay, but I could never find it. Like it's such a random figure that like nobody has it or like nobody knows what it's called. And I just found it one day. Like it was in a bag, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is the figure." And I looked up the picture, and I put a piece of string on there too. So I don't know if you can see the fishing line on there. And I just packaged it because like it was just on my shelf for a long time, and I was like, maybe I'll package it and sell it. And then I packaged it, and I was like, no, I'm keeping this.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah, so there's a couple, and like, but like I said, sometimes I'll make stuff and like I'll try to sell it, but like if nobody buys it, like now it's on my wall. Like I have a little, like you can kind of see it over here, the little pegboard.
Yeah.
That's the thing I took to DesignerCon. Me and my buddy made that for DesignerCon.
Oh, nice.
To display everything, and like I just brought it in here, and now it's like my display. So I put all my figures that I make like on there, and I pull from there for my Etsy orders. But like now it's just part of my collection. Like if somebody doesn't buy anything, like it's still there. So
yeah,
at least I get to look at
right?
it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Dude, you've been here for over an hour already, dude. That went by way too fucking fast, man.
Oh, dude, I could talk all night, dude. I've only done like 2 of these things. Last time I talked to Toys on Tap, and like we were going, I was like, dude, whenever you want to talk, like I love talking about like coming up in the scene and like meeting people and like just like connecting with people and even just talking about stories about how I found stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, and I think it's important, man. I think we are such a niche community. And then you could even start, whittling it down even more to the 3.75 carded figure if you wanted to. But you're right, dude. I think it's important that we get together and we talk about just kind of whatever. I think it keeps it interesting. It keeps it important. It keeps everything relevant. It gets your name out there more. It gets people more familiar with you. But Crumbs, I don't know if you had anything else for Eddie. Eddie, if there's anything else that you want to get out there, man, we'd love to hear it, dude.
No, I didn't really have anything. I mean, I just want to say thanks to everybody that's like been supporting me, and I know there's a bunch of dudes in the chat that I've talked to on Instagram, and like I'm not looking at the chat because I'm on my phone, but there's a lot of people that I've reached out to and talked to on Instagram, and people that reached out to me, and like I just really appreciate it, and I all the love that everybody's given me the last 2 years. Like you said in that post, like I'm really happy that I found this weird niche community of like making toys, because like for a while I was like struggling, like I don't know what to do like with my art. Like I know I like to make stuff, but like when I started making toys, like it just hit, and like I don't know, it's just been really fun.
Yeah, I agree, dude. And like you said, man, we are a kind of a niche kind of group of weirdos, but when everything comes together, dude, man, it is a hell of a time. Thursday nights, whenever it is, the cons are always great, dude. It was great meeting you at DesignerCon. I'm ashamed of myself that I didn't find you last year. Ask him if he will do John Leguizamo from The Pest.
Dude, I was thinking about that one. I remember watching that movie when I was little, and like it was kind of weird. I gotta rewatch it. But I remember the opening scene, like when he's like dancing in the shower. Like I thought that one's funny. That'd be a good one. I think I kind of have to do that one.
That would be.
But that happens a lot too. Like if anybody has like suggestions, like I'm always open. Like send me a DM. Like even if you're not gonna buy it, like if it's funny, I'll probably make it. So.
One thing that I wanted to mention, somebody, I think they were talking about Mighty Max. Somebody was saying something about that.
Oh, the little Mighty Max?
Yeah, the Mighty Max sets. I know that, yeah, exactly. The Mighty Max set, if anybody has a carded one of those and you have those dimensions, get those over to Jevaho Creations. He's working on something, and he had put a post out, I think, in his stories the other day for dimensions on that. So, if anybody has that in the room, please shoot those dimensions over to Jevaho. Eddie, it was an awesome time having you, dude. You are welcome back anytime, man. I think it's always, and I think Crumbs would say the same thing, dude. When we have a guest on here who can just rattle off an hour like it's nothing, dude, that's fucking.
Oh yeah, this is fun, dude. I'm always down. I'll be on next week.
Dude, we love having a group of guys. There's a small group of artists out there that we can call on anytime and be like, hey, dude, we need some fill for the week, dude. And I'm sure you'll be on that list, dude.
Yeah, anytime, dude. I listen to you guys once in a while. I don't really do the live show because I have a 2-year-old, and like when I come home from work, I'm like always like running around chasing him. But at work sometimes I listen to you guys, and it's just nice hearing everybody like talk to each other.
Yeah, it is, man. You can always catch us on the replay too. One question about your son, dude. I don't want to get all personal and shit, dude, but I mean, you can't help but think that when you see some of those posts from, especially some of your work from Back to the Future, some of your con get-ups from from the past, and then your son's name is Marty, dude. There's got to be a connection there.
There is a direct connection. His name is Marty. Like it's not even Martin. It's just Marty.
That's awesome, dude.
When we were going through names when he was going to be born. Like I just pitched a bunch of movie names. My wife had some crazy names too. Like she was really set on Bart for a while, and I was like, I don't know, like that's cool, but like I don't want him to get made fun of, you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe for a middle name, but I don't know. And then I said, what about Marty? And she's like, oh, I love Marty. And then we just stuck with it. And like everybody that meets him and like they just love his name. Like it's so like unique. Like there's a lot of Martins, but there's like no Martys. Like his name is just straight Marty.
That's a great name,
M-A-R-T-Y.
dude. I'm a huge Future fan, dude. I love it, dude. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, me too. Like that's one of those movies where it was like there's certain movies that I watched when I was a kid that you could tell like set me on a certain path. And like Back to the Future is one of those, like skateboarding, like
for sure,
the mad scientist vibes of like mashing stuff up together, and like I don't know, like that one really inspired me as a kid. So
that's awesome, dude. I think that's cool how you can kind of see that play out through your life so far, kind of to where you're at. You're doing what artistically all the way to your son's name. Eddie, again, dude, fucking great having you on, man. It was a pleasure meeting you at DCon. We will be keeping an eye on the work for sure, man.
I'll
be
posting soon. Time, yeah, I have a couple stuff I'll be posting soon, so if you guys keep an eye out. But nice. Cheers, guys. Anytime, just let me know.
Right on, brother. Thank you, man. Thanks again for your time.
All right. See ya.
Right on.
I almost wondered for a second there if they were going to beat me to the exit. They were like ready, man. They're ready to do.
That was like an hour and 15.
Yeah, but hey, you know what, man? And I think there's been a couple times this happens. So like with artists like that, do we really want to cut them off or interject? They're saying smart shit. They've got great work. Like you kind of sit back and just listen, man. Like
100%. Absolutely, dude. And I think that's what's kind of cool about it. I mean, we always shoot for an hour. We always tell everybody, we always shoot for an hour. But I mean, shit, dude, if we're just, just having a good old time, like, who's to say it's going to be an hour? But, God, dude, there's just so much to unpack there, man, as far as him as an artist and as a person and nostalgia. And
Hey, that being said, you're such a fucking liar. We started this off tonight, and I was like, dude, I feel so underprepared. And you were like, yeah, me too. And then all of a sudden, you've got homie's fucking like LinkedIn page written down on your notes. You've got. I was hopping around. You guys were too quick for me, man. I was trying to hop back and forth between tabs, and you'd mention a piece, and I'd finally get to it, and you'd go to the next piece, and I was like, oh, you fuckers. So,
Oh, dude, it's you know what, man. Between the what's interesting for me, dude, is when you scroll back to somebody's first post and you see that there's nothing about toys on there at all. You know what I mean? And then you scroll up and you kind of see, oh, they're starting to dabble a little bit, and then it's like full force, and you're like, oh shit, where was the change? What happened here? You know, and then you start reading some of the captions and then even some of the comments from people, and you start piecing things together. And next thing you know, you have this story about a person where you're like, oh shit, man, this is gonna be interesting. You know what I mean? Dude, he is a legit certified artist in so many ways, dude. And it's just, he's expressing it in so many different ways. And the one-off market, dude, I mean, we've talked about that a million times before. There's so much work that goes into those, you know?
it's intriguing too. Like it's one of those things where it's like to find those pieces, to try and see beyond what the hell you're looking at when it's there, to have this bag of a bunch of like quote unquote junk that you then transform into crazy fucking talented pieces. It's impressive. It's obviously an art skill in and of itself. Like, and some of those backers on there are just fucking gorgeous, man. And then I think that's kind of it. Like a lot of times we do talk about like when you're replicating what you've seen as a kid, like a lot of times that's where like the whole package comes in.
The Pikmin 3 hour spectacular. Yeah, dude. And you know what? What's very cool about him too is it seems like now, and I don't want anybody take this the wrong way as far as putting a certain amount of effort into different pieces, but he definitely have pieces where he's doing some original sculpt, some paint, some kit bashing, the backer, the packaging, all that stuff. And then he's got other pieces like the Ramses one, where he's basically taking a figure and just doing a repaint. Now, cool, right? Like the end result from the guy that's walking by, whatever, it doesn't matter. But if you're just going to do a repaint, I think what he's thinking is, you know, damn, that repaint better be on point. And it is. And I mean, that's just a great example of how just a simple repaint on a figure can really change it. I mean, it's a whole different figure now. Then you throw on that dope backer. Dude, I love the fact that he's doing the bubble over the bubble as kind of just a protector way to use that blister from DKE. Sick, dude. I mean, there's some great work in there. The figures, like I said, the nostalgia, man, it just some of those figures that he is selecting are just so random, but they're huge pieces of nostalgia. You know, it's very cool.
What's strange too is I think like even something like the Joe Camel you guys were talking about, it has different reasons for different people. You know, like for whatever reason, like most of us do remember Camel cigarettes, so it's one of those things where you're kind of like, yeah, like it does end up kind of hitting like a weird like, oh hell yeah, like that's dope. But yet at the same time, like Scuba Steve from fucking Big Daddy, and so like even that was one of those things where you're kind of like, yeah, like. And then you look at somebody who collects VHSs, and it's like, well, no wonder then your interest tastes also kind of go all over. Like VHSs were one of like the most popular forms of visual media for the last 30 years.
Yeah, and dude,
2000.
The age gap between his actual age versus the stuff that he's producing, holy smokes, dude! You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Like you go to your grandparents' house and like you see stuff like from there, and then you go, your uncle, right, is showing you things, and it's like it's this big amalgamation. And I think that's even why, like we've talked about it before, like a lot of us actually are kind of cut from the same cloth, because even if we wouldn't have actually maybe necessarily been in the same age group, at some point we had somebody in our lives that it was important for them to show it to us or have us see it.
Yeah. Just a super interesting artist, man. He's doing so much. And then the skateboarding background, the fact that he's gotten some of those figures into the hands that he's got them into already is super cool. Definitely being down in that area, in the LA area, and close to that world is definitely beneficial. But it's cool, man. He's got a lot of stuff going on. and obviously it's only going to get better. But his work, dude, is sick. There is some super cool shit in there. Anyways, good one. Eddie ANAYA reality breakdown. Give him a follow ASAP, please. What else is going on, dude?
Not a whole lot, man. We're just chilling over here this evening. Honestly, again, like I said, man, I feel sometimes, especially when we've got a guest in, if I'm just sitting there, like, eventually I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take my ugly mug off here, make you guys a little bigger on the screen. I'll just disappear for a moment. But if I'm just sitting there like smiling like a big dumb stoner, the other thing too is I do keep in mind the fact, like, anybody who's got little ones and or like their work might watch this, they don't necessarily need to see like Crumb's face emerging from a big cloud of smoke as he lifts himself up from down here all of a sudden. So
they were talking about the zombie on Pee-wee's Playhouse, dude. That could be like your entrance with like the smoke.
There are times it is a little comical to me how it's like, you know, you have the camera off, you turn it on, and there's just fucking it's dissipating as you're sitting there being like, yeah.
It's foggy where he's at. He's doing the show from outside.
Arts and crafting.
What else we got, dude? I know that you had a couple pieces. I don't know if you got some tabby doos to get through.
I do have some tabby doos. I ended up yanking this off the wall. I'm sure I've shown it before too, but just because of like the nature of what we were talking about today, fucking Trash Can Monster actually made this way back in the day. It was around the time that fucking that WAP song came out, and I needed it. So it ended up being it was going to be a run of 10, but I was the only human being who thought it was freaking absolutely clever that he had changed WAP to weaponized assault penguins. So he only ended up actually making one, and you know, I just think, but also what I find is kind of jokes, man, is like, we don't see this too often. This is a collectible, not an art toy. For me to, like, of all people, for Crumbs to own the one and it be like, yo, this is a collectible art toy, not a toy. It's kind of like, fuck you, they're all toys. If I can play with it somehow, it's a toy.
Trash Can Monster, dude. It's been a while for Trash Can Monster, right?
It has.
Yeah. I have some cool work from him, man. One of my favorite pieces is that intergalactic shooter is what that is. That's an old one, man. God, I'm looking, you know what, man? Now I'm looking at some of my carded pieces from him. Dude, those go back away. Those go back to 2020, probably, you know?
I've got a weird one, and I almost hope it's a one-off from him. It's a little resin butt plug, but he ended up deciding to do it as a marble pour where the tip is red resin, and then the rest of it is like a regular pink rubbery resin color, so it looks almost like a bloody butt plug. It's pretty weird. I hope he only made one of those.
Oh, man. You never know, man. A lot of his stuff, he did do some one-off stuff. He did do a lot of runs that had kind of one-offs within the run, too, which was cool. Shotgun Karaoke says, I'm totally missing the Pee-wee references. He was never a huge thing here. Yeah, it's got
to be an American thing. I don't know, man. Well, actually, even as I said that, I'm like, shit, fucking Domo's American, is he not?
That much.
That's not all out Domo, is it?
That is, yes. Gosh, man, for me that was, I want to say probably 5th grade, something like that for Pee-wee's Playhouse for me was the show. But just like Eddie and I was saying, man, I think the movie Pee-wee's Big Adventure was more of a thing than the show was for me. But yeah, I mean, what can you say about Paul Rubens, dude? He did a lot of other things besides Pee Wee Herman.
So yeah, Pocket nailed those. Sorry, yeah, I said All Out Domo, but I meant Shotgun Karaoke. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
you just don't normally up at this time. The fuck.
Who knows what time it is in Finland? Honestly, I don't know. Oh man, no love for Big Top Pee-wee. Oh yeah, the other movie, Big Top. Yeah, you know, it wasn't Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but it was another one. And
Yakamaka, I'll show you a Big Top Pee-wee, my dude. Don't you worry.
Oh man. All right. Well, what else we got tonight, man?
Well, okay,
You know,
so do you have a pile of goodies there? I feel like you're holding back the goods.
you feel like I'm holding back the goods, do you?
I do. I have some tabby doos. If not, if I'm actually just delusional.
You know what? I got a box of Trash Joy stuff that came in.
That's fine.
If you want to take a look at that, we could definitely take a look at that.
Always. Yeah. What are you talking about? Of course.
Yeah.
Silly goose.
Check this out. Now, Trash Joy Studios, this was his last drop, and when he does these, he does a usually, gosh, I don't know, 10 to 12, pieces, and then kind of lines them up. It's one of the coolest claim processes, I guess. I mean, because it's so organized, right? Like everything's up there, 1 through whatever, or A through whatever. Name what you want, it'll send you the bill. That's pretty much as much as that goes. Is Finnish Independence Day on the same Piss Off Sweet Day? So here goes some Trash Joy stuff. Trash Joy, I mean, Crumbs, I think you would probably agree, dude. When you see a Trash Joy stuff or a piece, you just know that it's a Trash Joy piece for multiple reasons, man. It's usually the pour, it's usually some UV or some glow. But the figures and I think the style of them and the makeup of them is usually, they look like over pours. Sometimes they're intentional, sometimes they're not, I don't think. But whatever the case may be, man, I mean, I think Trash Joy definitely has a style that everybody can somewhat recognize. For example, right? Like you can look at that and say that's definitely a Trash Joy piece. These are probably all UV. What's really cool about his pieces too, when he shows them on the drops, he'll show the regular piece and then he'll show what they look like with glow or with UV.
That one turned out so freaking sick, man.
Yeah, dude, this one's awesome, right? Yeah, that's a cool one. This one is also similar with a different face.
Fuck those, man, that weird little combo of that Pokemon with the faces and skulls is such a good fucking little mix.
Yeah, just so random, right? Did that pause real quick?
It did, yeah. You had a little glitch moment there where you were just frozen for a second.
You know what? I dropped the piece and it hit some button and paused it. That was weird.
Jokes. Ooh, I think that might be one of the. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's a good one, dude. Check this one out. This is so fucking badass. I love this one.
Damn, I didn't even see that one.
Yeah, and a lot of these, are figures that I've actually seen before, but that maybe the pours were a little bit different. But some of them on this round were figures that I had not seen before, stuff that he had not done before. But
that's a fun one. That's actually a Mothman Republic piece that they would have cast.
Yeah, Mothman Republic, dude. That's a good one. This was cool, dude. This little set, right? So it's this guy. That would be the groom. And then the bride on this one, which is just a chunky one, dude. I love it. I love the heart for the head.
Yeah, what a fucking pour, man.
Yeah.
I must have somehow slept on that whole drop they did. I did not see a lot of these casts they did.
Yeah. This is a chunky one too, man. This is a larger scale one for him. And then also this, God, dude, I have a bunch of these coffins from different people. I thought this one was super cool. Just look at that shit, dude.
Yeah, they really went, like, and don't get me wrong, they typically do a lot of like marbling and overpour styles of casts, but they really knocked it out on this one.
Yeah, this one is super cool. This is going to be a cool little display piece for some Trash Joy piece. But my favorite one out of this one was this bust right here. God, dude, I mean, I don't know where to start with this thing. I mean, it's the pour, it's the
Those tits.
that it's the bandana, or I mean the eye covering, how the head's kind of tilted down, looking down at an angle like that. It's a strange piece, dude. I love it. Really cool. But anyways, that's all from Trash Joy. If you're not following Trash Joy, definitely give him a follow. But yeah, I would say some typical Trash Joy stuff there. That's just fucking God, dude.
That was a gold haul, man. That was good.
Yeah, it's not bad. And you know what, dude? For the price, I mean, most of that stuff you're looking at like a few bucks a piece. It definitely adds up, but it's you know, I mean, when you see them and they have that pour and that look and that UV, it's like, dude, how can you resist, you know?
Yeah. Generally like 15, 20 bucks a pop. The chat's just getting raunchy over here this evening. Hey, so I don't know if you've seen some of these tabby doos. There's not a whole lot, I'll admit. I must have been like half asleep through this week going through it, man. I would have to agree with freaking, who was even just saying it there a moment ago, that they forgot it was Thursday till they saw the notification. I was telling you the same thing. I gapped it. I thought it was Wednesday, basically. But did you see this here? If anybody's not familiar, so typically Zimico ends up actually doing a giveaway on their Facebook group. So I know a lot of us have actually, since moving over to Instagram, don't do the old Facebook thing too much. But they're going to be giving away these two pieces on Friday's giveaway. If you were interested at all, just hop on over to their old Facebook. Make sure that you end up making a comment on the post. Bangers, man.
Yeah, dude, those are great, man. I love those.
I don't understand how they find time every gosh dang week to just pump out not just new sculpts, but casts. And
I mean, I think, right, dude, like, I think we're waiting for it to stop at some point, and it's clearly never going to stop, at least anytime in the near future. But you're right, dude. The amount of product coming out of there, it's staggering. The ideas on top of that, dude. I mean, and I always relate something like that to like someone like Ocular Rhombus, right? Who's making consistent one-offs and naming them. And it's just, dude, there's so much like daily output of creativity. It's fucking wild, dude.
Speaking of wild, pre-sales for these freaking dudes.
I'm about to send my pre-order money over ASAP, dude. Look at those freaking things, man. I'm so glad that he continued with this line. This is the second one now, but I mean, Jesus Christ, dude.
Wild.
The
I think we've talked about it almost like 3 weeks in a row now.
yeah.
But they weren't pre-orders up last week.
Yeah, I mean, but the soft goods and just the idea in general, man, and the packaging. I don't think he has the packaging on there. I don't know what the packaging looked like for that one, but I'm sure it'll be similar to the last one that came out. And those are those are awesome. You know, I saw Brett General Porpoise post Shrek piece too. Nice score there, my man.
Freaking wild.
Yeah,
such a good piece. And just because we were on a bit of a vinyl kick. Do you see these bad boys at Extra Truck Restaurant end up dropping with Kachina?
Awesome, dude. They sold out, and I was late on that. I think he did a post about 32 minutes after they dropped, and they were gone already, man. But they are beautiful. Yeah, Tom, no problem, dude. Sending that stuff out, whatever I can do to help, dude. I do have a healthy box here for you. I'm trying to load it up because Future Retroistic sent me a bunch of copies, more than I expected to send to you, man. So fear not, my dude. I have a large box headed your way here shortly. Those are beautiful, dude.
Wild.
You know, Kachina is another guy that I met, and my bad, I forgot to reference him on one of my posts, but I met him at Decon too, and we talked about some of these pieces that he's painting.
just gorgeous, man. Their paint apps are fucking stupid.
Straight up, man.
The ones that are for pockets are fucking beautiful. And then even the fact Elixir Toys was kind of on pause for a little moment there. But the ones that Kachina does of the thick gustings are always so freaking fire, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a straight 7-1. Damn. Gapped on
Yeah.
those.
Strafe has been doing some really good paint. I mean, his paint's always good, but he's been showing up doing a couple different things lately. I saw him do a Bone Ghost as well from JDO, which is another good one. The Fun Gusting, dude, that one seems to sell out no matter what, right? Like, no matter who does it or who touches it, those things always, god damn, look at that one.
Yeah, that vinyl does very well. Just a great, like a good sculpt's a good sculpt, man. Like, that's just kind of how it is.
Dude.
Oh, fuck.
100%, dude. And I think that we could probably do a whole fucking show on that, right? Like, yeah. I've talked to multiple people where we're just like, you know, why does this sell? Why does that not sell? And I think one of the main things at the end of the day is like, dude, if it's a fucking dope sculpt, it doesn't matter who touches it, dude. It's gold, you know? Is that Naomi Naff?
Oh, you're damn right it is.
Woo! Nice.
Their work's always so freaking fun, man.
God, it really is, dude. I think the amount of work that goes in there is just fucking nuts, dude. But you're right. The ideas are what a fun store to look around into, man. If you haven't been in that one recently, check that one out.
They had the Latoufs in their store for so long, sitting at such a stupidly good price. And like I'll kick myself for so long about those, man, because not a chance. Oh. And I guess these ones right off the kiln, so like, god dang it, man. But yeah, sorry, I keep on. We're getting so into the pieces. I'm forgetting to even mention what the fuck's happening with them. These are going up into the shop this week. If you're interested, anybody, reach out to them. Get on it. And Low Tech Studios, man, is just blowing my mind lately, dude. I love to see that this cat has kind of just like, they're going down their own little avenue right now. These, I'm pretty sure that I want to say these sold out pretty quick. But see these little dino dudes?
Ooh, those are good.
This extending neck one is fun as hell to me, man.
Yeah, dude, Low Tech is on the very, very short list of people to get on the show, man. I've been
wanting hell yeah
to get on here ASAP. The amount of vinyl that dude is cranking out, dude. The Mike Tyson, the Shark, it's just like fucking nonstop.
100%, man. And honestly, it's just really impressive to see like how far it's come in the last little bit, how quickly they've managed to just kind of chew some things out of the way. And they full fucking runs, man. Like, yes. God dang it.
Dude, I'm very interested in that process, dude. Just by looking at some of the stuff that he uses, like that's something I'm not familiar with at all.
This?
Yes.
Well, that's kind of what makes making Sofubi typically so expensive. These fucking steel molds, the electroplated molds.
Right.
So that's why it's so impressive. That it's like, okay, dude, who do you know who's welding? They've talked about it in some of their previous posts, but then that's where wax sculpts become really important.
God, that is so dope right there, dude.
And it's like, oh my gosh, man. So that's what I mean. Like, they're on a roll at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like it's pretty much exclusively vinyl at this point, man. At least from the last, few things that I've seen. I have a few Low Tech pieces, but they're all
some of the resin pieces.
They're all like solid resin pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I mean. Like their dive into this has just been pretty nice to see, man.
Puzzled Panther says, "Long live U.S. garage vinyl." Yeah, dude, that is an area that I would really like to explore. Next year on the show is where all that's coming from. I think that we could probably name a few artists off the top of our head that are doing that. But it's an interesting thing, man. I mean, I think when we talk about vinyl, we always one of the first things that people talk about is getting the piece made, and it's typically out of the country. And these are guys here in the States that are doing it and don't seem to have any problem doing it. So let's spread that gospel and see if we can get some more people doing that, dude. That'd be great.
100%. And before I just completely gap out as well, there's going to be a shop drop of these. That's why I even brought them up. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. We'll see tomorrow what we got. Stay posted. I'm curious now. Obviously, like I said, brain dead this week. What does Lotec have in the shops? This guy here.
Oh, Death Sharks.
Vinyl. Oh, a couple of Space Monsters. A couple of Space Jamillas. There.
God, dude, there's a lot of vinyl. Yeah, a lot of vinyl in there.
Stand, man. Hey, I don't know if anybody's seen these guys here. These Snailians by Stormico Station. Fucking dope. Currently 30 each plus shipping. And Stormico Station's another one that I'd say if you're cruising their page and you see anything, I'm sure they'd be happy with you hitting them up in the DMs. Yeah, Yakamuk, you're right. We've definitely. Oh, Jesus.
Get
bring
him
them on the show. I'm sure it'll be fun.
How dare you? Okay.
But yeah, no, we've popped up their home vinyl YouTube video a couple of times the last couple of weeks. Absolutely. That damn Joe. What we got here? Next Friday, Barfo Party Series #1. The Dark Rainbow is Jamila. I have not. Why don't we just take a little peek?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, now that we're talking about it, there we go. Yeah. Took my small brain a moment. Dark Rainbow, dude. Those fucking colors, those packaging. Just something else. Moon Forest has a drop coming up as well. 8 p.m. UK time on Saturday. Going to be dropping a couple of these beauties up in their store. And, of course, we were talking about it earlier. I'm sorry. This thing's just fucking gorgeous, man.
Oh, shit.
Like, already, don't get me wrong, I'm in love with this fucking vinyl they've done recently. This sculpt is absolutely just stupid. But this is just freaking stupid, man. Between the soft goods. And even when we had them on, like, we know they've talked before about, like, how diverse their expertise are. But, like, I'm sorry. This is sick as hell with the cut leather and shit.
Dude.
Riveted.
Oh, man, that was so freaking cool. The guts on the inside, dude. That's awesome. Yeah.
And Domo, you're right. Yeah, Yuck Trading Company does a bunch of vinyl, and if anything, their pricing, in my opinion, is actually wild for sure. Yuck Trading Company, Yuck Trading Co. I probably got something wrong here.
Dr. Doomtone also does homemade vinyl. Yeah,
that's just it. Dr. Doomtone, Basement Puke. I'm on Yuckabuck now. Now we're just losing all focus. But yes, I mean, realistically, if we would like to discuss all the homies who dabble in some vinyl, I've actually got a Basement Puke right here. Going to be his RV, actually painted by Toxic Fumes Toys, but
nice.
Good old Basement Puke vinyl. And of course, the Ruga mark over in the old United States of America. Boom. A couple of these little fun guys. Oh, heck yeah. A little dinosaur weirdo one-off. And of course, Last Resort Toys over in the old good old US of A. Doing some big old freaking sculpts.
Now, that's one that you painted, yes?
Yeah.
Show that one again, dude.
That's a fun one, man. This sculpt is absolutely just gorgeous, though, dude.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, but your paint work on there is fucking sick, dude. I remember when you posted pictures of that, dude. There is a shitload of layers on there, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. But yeah, vinyl's wild, dude. And it's even kind of crazy, like, how many of our resin homies have actually been kind of dabbling at least a little bit in it, whether it be through paint-aps or actually getting some of their sculpts done in vinyl. We're just seeing a huge boom in it recently. Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely, dude.
But
But I
even
think
I would
that's
say
a whole
like
nother.
Banana Spoons and all those guys, they were JM Rampage. They were all mentioned in the chat tonight. Creature Maker.
Yeah, definitely, dude. And, and Creature Maker is someone who's still doing resin stuff too. But that'll be cool to get into, man. I mean, I think we always kind of dance around it a little bit as far as vinyl. I mean, and vinyl is just as part of a big as part of the scene as resin is. I mean, for whatever reason, dude, I don't think we purposefully focus on resin,
Right.
but it does seem to be more prevalent in what we do.
Well, when we came into the scene, the division was bigger. Like,
Yeah,
let's be real. When we first came into the scene, it was kind of one of those things that it was almost like you had the time, money, energy to invest into vinyl, or you had picked the time, money, energy to investing into resin. Because it was almost kind of like, as much as you'd like to capture it all, a lot of the times it was almost kind of like you had to draw the line somewhere back then. And
yeah.
so it was kind of one of those things where you're kind of like, yeah, I'm familiar with that maker and some of their work, but I don't really collect vinyl. I'm more of into resin, right? Like it was almost like you had to make a division. But now so many of our resin homies are getting into it, and that line's getting grayer. Where, like I said, like we've got homies that have done paint apps on the vinyl side, so something you're kind of like if you want a strafe piece, but it's also a thick gusting, or this Alva is one of those situations where you're like, oh, I'm doing a Toxic Fumes Toys order, and he's got an Alva sitting there that they painted, so you're like, well, opportunity to get a basement puke piece and a Toxic Fumes painted piece. So it's like things like that start kind of happening as well, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I think that that definitely kind of brings it a little bit closer to home, I guess, in a way, right? When when somebody that was doing primarily resin is kind of moving into that that other world, so to speak. So, speaking of vinyl, the Chum, that's going to be the giveaway for tonight. The Chum vinyl from Toys on Tap and Pocket Sizzle. Pocket Salsa, you have a little Pocket Salsa stamp there on the bottom. But we have seen these going all over the place. The one that I have, dude, I have the blue and white marble one. And I was talking to Salsa the other night, and he said, man, see if that thing glows. And God dang, it sure does, dude. I can't wait to post pictures of that, dude. But the white marble glow
Yeah, I was gonna say.
on that one is super, super sick. But yeah, dude, this one will be cool to get out in the open tonight. God, dude, we've seen so many different versions of that one already, and they're all just freaking beauties, dude. The paint that Kachina did on his are super sick.
Yeah, and if anything, this might be one of the few nights too where a lot of the folks, because so many of our homies actually already have a Chum, a lot of the dudes that were commenting in on the post for the giveaway were actually saying spin again. And Pocket was actually been saying if they win, they'll include the proto, one of the protos for it to send off.
Oh, nice.
Spin again and do that. Yeah. So like I said, oh jeez. But like I said, man, a lot of the homies were definitely kind enough that they still wanted to contribute in, make a comment, which we all know the algorithm helps get that out on pages if it seems there's some traction. So, and honestly, a lot of you dudes were rhyming off some makers that I wasn't familiar with as well. I think that's what was kind of nice about doing the vinyl to this week, was seeing maybe some accounts that we hadn't actually heard of before.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just kind of going through some of these comments. Pockets also says Elixir Toys does a lot of collaborating with resin artists also. And then Pockets also says the divide is bridging. I agree, dude. And I think there's a lot of different factors in there, but I definitely do agree with that. Just to follow up on what Crumb said, is that it does seem like it's kind of coming all together, I guess you could say. But God, dude, I really think I think in hindsight, I think we're too small to be divided like that. You know what I mean?
100%, man. Well, and I think the reality is for a lot of the resin folks, during COVID, it was really nice to be able to have that outlet. But from some people that I've talked to in the past, like one of the nicest parts about going over to vinyl is the F-ups are kind of out of your hands at this point. With resin, where you're sitting there and you might have all this costs going into materials with very little return. With vinyl, it's one of those things where once you've paid off that mold, you're not sitting there pulling your hair out about having to try and make a mold for this piece or a bunch of bubbles coming out in the pieces. A box shows up and there's your vinyl.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they still require some prep and everything. I'm not saying that like something you're just like it's magic, like I get. There's still a lot of them that require some heat gunning, and sometimes there are still some defects, but typically it's not you sitting there getting ticked off that you just wasted a gallon of resin for the defects.
Exactly, dude. And that's the thing, man. Like there's so much, it's just such a different, I think it's such a different thing from beginning to end. And that's what's interesting about like the scene in general, right? Like everything, there's so many different mediums that kind of all fall under that umbrella of independent toys. I mean, shit, you know, you look at the shows that we do or that we cover, and there's all kinds of stuff in there, dude. There's stuff that wouldn't be considered a toy in any form. But here we are, and it's all under kind of the same thing, and it all works. You know what I mean? It all works.
Well, and I think a big thing is the wax. As much as like, we maybe don't want to attribute a lot of it to wax, like the reality is you can sculpt a lot faster and easier with wax, but also the tooling typically for a vinyl sculpt is done in wax. And so a lot of the times, like even that seemed almost kind of like daunting or intimidating, this idea of having to get some professional paying somebody to sculpt your idea in wax. We've got 3D printers now. You can make a mold of it. You can now make a cast with the wax. You can make any changes you need. You can do the tooling out of the wax. Like the accessibility is just there, I think.
Dude, here's something that I thought was extremely funny. I'm helping Hurt Toys the other day move some furniture from one house to another family member's house here in town. We go to that family member's house. Now, this family member is probably in their, oh gosh, I'd say mid-60s. Hobbyist, does a little side business. And her comment was, yeah, we're making all the grandkids articulated toys for Christmas with this 3D printer. And she takes us inside, and absolutely, dude, she's making and selling them at shows. But she's just got that thing running all day long and making little articulated toys, dude. It's a trip.
And then what's tough is I'll admit, like what was a little bit, it gets so gray area. Nobody who does 3D printing take this way because it's different. It's not what you're doing. Like when I went to FanX this year, what was a little bit disappointing is that the 3D booths you're seeing, they're generally those individuals who are doing just like, and I don't want to undermine it. Like that's where I'm sounding like a piece of shit right now. I don't mean to, but they're not exploring into the realm our homies have. They're doing very like keychainy or tiny little desk objects where you're still seeing the filament lines, and a lot of them are still doing that. And then where the other issue is that you get somebody like LM9 goes to do a convention or a show, and people are picking up their pieces going, oh, do you 3D print this? And it's kind of like, oh crap. So it almost creates this like division again where and it's so annoying because we're all doing the same thing. We're all just trying to celebrate creativity and the exploration into like fucking making some shit.
Yeah, dude. And it's gosh, dude. It's weird, man. It's weird how we look at it and then how the just regular Joe walking by it sees it, you know what I mean, who doesn't know the difference in what they're looking at or how it was made. But a funny take on that, dude, is now when she was telling us about this printer and was going over, it was, you know, very cool, and it's doing its thing, and she's showing her all the stuff it can do. And she says, yeah, it came with basically a library of about 1,000 things where you could get in there. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, dude, what if we threw her a Funky McClunky file? You know what I mean? I mean, like, hey, now print some of these or something like that. And it's just, you know, 1,000. Now to the regular person, I go, oh man, 1,000, I'll never go through that. And then you think, you know, in reality, 1,000 is a very small library for something like that. But the possibilities are, I mean, God, dude, I guess they're endless, right?
And that's just it.
Yeah, I think where it really starts to divide itself is when you figure out who's doing those sculpts. and how readily available they are, and the artwork that goes into making the actual file that people are printing out.
And realistically, in a perfect world, the only divider is if you don't want to buy it, don't put your money there. Otherwise, keep moving. There's somebody out there who will enjoy it, that'll buy it. Don't ruin their fun.
I think the last thing I'll say on it real quick, dude, is I think there's probably a whole bunch of different markets for it, but you know what she is doing is not what we are doing, right? She's taking these to like craft fairs, and I know people set up tables at craft fairs and stuff like that, but I don't think it's necessarily marketed as, hey, these are handmade indie art toys. These are more jars and Christmas trees and candle holders and stuff that they've 3D printed and made this. So I think the marketing aspect on it is definitely different when it comes. Now, at the end of the day, to some person, it might be all the same to them. But I think us here that watch the show, or that at least follow this community closely, know that there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it besides just hitting a print button, and that is really where the intricacies and the people's process really gets involved and really starts to differentiate themselves from each other. So
right, I keep trying to tell people that my friggin' OnlyFans is actually my art exploration, not porn, but people will fucking think whatever they want.
Oh man, let's spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Let's spin the old wheel. Hey,
17. And you know what? 17 was Dirty Yeti, man. Have we ever had Dirty Yeti win something from the show?
Yes. Okay, I think we have.
Well, congratulations to Dirty Yeti, man. That dude is a fucking powerhouse behind the paintbrush.
Yeah, straight up, dude. And I wanted to find his answer here real quick. Dude, Dirty Yeti, speaking of vinyl, the paint work that he does, yeah, dude, I was hoping he'd mention this guy. He sure did. Ray Gun Wizard, and his cube heads are incredible, and I may be buying more from him in the future. Mokoyama, that one was I know that's a big favorite of Salsa too. Always
they've blown up this last year. They've really gotten some traction this last year, man. They do some beautiful work.
Yes, 100%, dude. He's referred me to him multiple times. Planet X Asia put out my Grail piece, King Nawab. Got an insane glitter version of this piece from a true homie, Creature Maker Toys. Yeah, dude. Dirty Yeti, if you're looking for some custom painted vinyl, he's done some beautiful work, dude. Ray Gun Wizard, dude. That is one, that cube head. Fuck, I want one of those, dude. That is a vinyl piece that I want. That is such a fucking cool look. And some of the custom paints that I've seen on them are awesome, man. So if anybody's doing custom painted cube heads, let me know. Yeah. 2 custom painted.
I'm lagging tonight, but
oof.
That's a pretty rad sculpt, I'll admit.
Dude. Sick.
Plus, that body is so versatile.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I love that shit.
That's the big thing that I feel. Maybe I hope in the new year we'll see more of. Some dudes seem to get it, and some of the cats don't necessarily get it. But that's one of the things I find really nice with vinyl, is because of the jointing on it. If you make something that's versatile like this body, where you can switch these arms if you needed or wanted, or you can switch this head if you wanted, and then you're just getting pulls of those. Such a fucking rad idea.
Yeah, dude, check out that comment from Salsa.
I was just reading that myself. Yeah,
interesting.
There you go, man. I bet you that they have their ability to work within some of these programs is just down to a T.
Street Fight says Kachina has done some straight. Yeah, I agree.
Kachina is like the freaking king of masks and like I don't even know what to call some of the other things, man. Like they'll use like netting. Like lately they've got what I would assume is some sort of either like cardboard cut in cloud shapes that they airbrush over, or paper, thick paper they've maybe cut into the like the cloud shape that they're airbrushing. But like
Yes.
all their different layering with these freaking masks that they use is so fucking cool. Sorry.
Yeah, dude. And I think you saw that kind of pop up a little bit on those Buddha tours, right? With the clouds through Kachina. Those were super sick, dude. I was wondering how he did that, man. That's interesting.
And the pocket ones have the really sick meshing. Where are these fucking?
Yes, right.
Like even okay, right down to the one on this belly on this one is just stupid to me. Where I'm like, I don't quite get it, but I also don't use airbrushes. But when I see this, I'm like, homie, this looks textured like a fucking backpack or a piece of canvas.
Yes.
Did you put a piece of screen over it? Like what gave you that fucking dimension? And we go back over to Kachina's and these. It's like, okay, did you put some sort of like a mesh down and airbrush it? Like what's giving you that?
Oh, dude, that's crazy right there. Yeah, how did he do that?
And I'm sure, again, like to some of the dudes who paint, they're rolling their eyes right now, being like, fucking collectors, man. Like this one.
Uh-huh.
Go fuck yourself. Kachina's, like, this is what I mean by they've got like the masking down, man. Like the like whatever they're using for their fucking love it. Anyways, we could look at toys all night and
we sure could. We sure could. We did it for 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's pretty good.
well, I think you nailed it tonight, man. That absolutely fucking reality breakdown is somebody that should be on the short list for humans that we bring in when we need somebody. There's nothing that, and this is nothing against any of you homies, man. You're all fucking lovely to chat to, but some of you are very chatty, and that just works beautiful for a show where we talk for 2 hours.
Yeah. That is true, man. But you know what I think is cool, man. I think no matter what, once we all start talking about toys, I think it really just starts to turn into just a regular conversation about toys. And I really felt like that with Eddie tonight. Eddie, thanks again for your time, man. That was freaking awesome. But yeah, definitely give him a follow if you're not already, dude. Some really, really cool work, dude. I love the aspect of that he does everything and puts so much time and effort in. Not that other people aren't putting time and effort into it, but just from the top to bottom with the the sculpting, the painting, the kit bashing, all that stuff, man. It's just that dude is a true artist for sure. Pockets also is really into small monster toys lately too. I forgot to mention them. So yeah, take a look at them. If you're looking for any vinyl artists, take a look at that giveaway question that we had this week. There's some killer artists in there.
You know who we don't really see too often anymore? Fucking the Peach Man dudes. These were some fun freaking pieces, man. Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, who was that again?
Anonymous Rat.
Anonymous Rat.
Fucking
I
jazz
remember
tonight.
seeing you dye some vinyl from them, correct?
Oh hell yeah, yo yeah, dudes. I will
in the
preach
day.
this till the day I die. Rit dye, but get the Rit dye more. It's a synthetic dye. You get the dye more. It works on resin or vinyl. And I think even Suki actually used the blue for one of their pieces. They did the Darth Maul slabs. They did in like a blue Force Ghost blue that they used the Rit dye for as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice. That's a cool process. Next week we got Super Terrible Toys, which is somebody that Eddie and Anaya referenced tonight. They've already sent a nice little box of giveaways for us, so that will be a super fun week next week with Super Terrible Toys. Make sure you tune in for that one. That'll be a great show.
I wonder if we'll get a 2-in-1 from that show.
I don't know. Ashley Alvarado, their work is great. If you're not following that account, follow that account, please. That's she does some awesome artwork in general. Some really interesting stuff. So yeah, that'll be a fun one, man. They have Super Terrible Toys. Like you take a look at their profile there, or their body of work, and it's just there's some really, really cool stuff in there. I think one of the giveaways they sent was dogs with asshole names, which I think is great. That's funny, man. I actually know some dogs with those names. I opened the package, I was just like, oh shit, that's beyond perfect. So anyways, man, busy week for you coming up, my man, or what?
I think always. I think we're all just exhausted and have busy months ahead of us. Yeah.
It's the end of the year push, man. We're trying to get there. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I got the other day, dude? I got some. I was just kind of fucking around, ordering some random kind of marketing stuff, dude. And I ordered these bubble mailers they're solid black and they look just like this. But they're bubble mailers, and those should be here soon. So those will be fun to give out. Oh, the other thing that I ordered today was, you know, that Toyzday sticker that we have, where it just says Toyzday. It's tape. So when you tape up the box, it's just Toyzday, 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 Toyzday. I was like, yeah, dude, I definitely need 300 feet of that. Let's go.
You're hilarious, man. Whatever makes you smile a little more for the day.
Okay. Whatever, man. Whatever. All right, buddy.
I appreciate you lots, dude. Try to have a good rest of the week, man. Everybody, it's been a pleasure. Boom.
Next week.